Hey, how are you? It's $18. It's our millage is 18.
Yes.
1,800. Yeah.
So, I'm almost ready. I'll take a big drink, how much is one, and then it'll be ready.
Okay. Oh, I don't know what
I don't think
one.
I've ever
Our
gotten
millage.
rehydrated ever again. And there isn't enough liquid IV in it.
The carrot's right.
No, I found much of it today.
Can't even raise it, guys, we can raise it one year.
For 2600, there's an index.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're gonna start with our pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Thacker,
Here.
Mr. Boland.
Here.
Mrs. Boyer,
Here.
Mrs. Berry. Here. Mrs. Hartsfield.
Absent.
She said she'll be a few minutes late.
Okay, I should see that.
Ms. Lyda.
Here.
Mr. Lohman,
Here.
Mr. Richburg,
Here.
Mr. Stackelrod,
Here.
Ms. Bonzo,
She's at play practice, and she asked for an excuse.
Excused.
Excuse, yes.
Ms. Gar.
Here.
Ms. Ion.
She's at the first play practice, full dress and musical, and she has to be excused too.
With that, we'll go to our recognition of visitors. Please keep in mind, this is limited to 30 minutes overall, 5 minutes per speaker, and all speakers must be residents of Franklin Area School District. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll move forward to correspondence.
No correspondence.
All right, superintendent's report.
Well, I wanted to take a few moments to recognize Alicia Hartsfield and Ronald Richburg. Ron for 8 years on the Board of Education, and Alicia, she'll be here any minute. For 4 years on the Board of Education. We'll have to all clap when she comes in so we know that we recognize her. The nutrition group and our folks, we have a nice card, a plaque for appreciation.
Oh, there she is.
There she is. Yes, we're just recognizing the outgoing board members for their years of service, 8 years with Ron, 4 years for Alicia, and we have the nutrition group made some nice, delicious treats for everybody. So people in the audience, people at the board, please help yourself, and we want to thank you for your service. Your certificates will be coming in. As soon as they do, we will get those to you. Hopefully by next week when you're here, we'll do it.
And Mrs. Hughes, let the record reflect that Mrs. Hartsfield arrived at 7:02 p.m.
Perfect. The second item is a long journey coming up to where we've been working as an operations committee and as a district for the past couple of years, and most recently the previous year with a facility study to start taking a look at our facilities, knowing that the facilities are at a point of age where we can consider as a board to either do renovations, building projects, no matter what the extent would be. And we've worked through our operations committee up to this point, and I think it'd be wise, probably as a board, as a committee of the whole, to have both the operations committee report and the superintendent's report into one. I've also talked with Mr. Boland about, who's the chairperson of the operations committee, about having each board member talk about the project of where we are today, because coming up in the next couple of weeks, or next week actually, we have some information to start sharing with you to talk about phase one with the efficiency network, who have come tonight. We have Rob and Joe here, and we also have PNC Bank, Alicia here, including Leon, who's our buildings and grounds director, to talk about the phases and where we start and where we go from here from tonight forward. And I think that if it's okay with you, Mr. Boland, could we give Alicia a few minutes first? And then, not Alicia Hartsfield, Alicia Henry. There's two Alicias. And then 10 to give their brief overview for the board, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Boland, if that's okay.
Her handout should be in front of you. PNC at the lower corner.
It doesn't matter.
You want me to use the microphone?
I can hear you. Can everyone
Can
else?
you
Yeah.
hear me?
Can the audience hear her?
Kim, I don't
That's usually
have
harder
that
to come back.
report.
Nope, okay, yeah, you'll need to use the microphone.
Okay.
I do know.
Okay, well,
Is this on?
oh, yeah. There you go, yeah.
All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the school board and administration. I was at the operations committee meeting last Thursday. Some of you I've met. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Alicia Henry. I work for PNC Capital Markets. I've been in this line of work for 25 years, and it's a pleasure to help you through this process and offer any help I can to get you where you'd like to go. The last couple months, I was appointed by the board to be your bond underwriter, and I've been working very closely with the administration to get you to the point where we are tonight. If you could flip into my discussion. On page 1, I'll give you a brief overview of a bond financing. Franklin Area School District is exploring options to fund upcoming capital projects. Tax-exempt general obligation bonds are a flexible, cost-effective financing solution. I am trying to recommend bank-qualified bonds as a structuring consideration. A bank-qualified bond is a mechanism in which a tax-exempt borrower can borrow $10 million in a calendar year, not a fiscal year, and be deemed bank-qualified. It provides more advantageous interest rates, as banks can purchase your bonds and write off a portion of the interest. But in this environment, I like that these bonds are going to be refinanceable in 5 years from closing, different from a bond issue issued over $10 million would have an 8 to 10-year lockout. And with interest rates where they are, I'm trying to do bank qualified bonds for most of my issuers if possible. The second advantage to bank qualified bonds is you would also qualify as a small issuer exemption, which means you will have no arbitrage restrictions. That means when you borrow the bonds, they can sit in a project fund and earn unlimited interest, and you do not have to rebate the interest back to the IRS. If you were not a small issuer, you would not be able to invest over the borrowing rate. So that is also a nice advantage. And the largest factor in determining your borrowing costs are your bond rating. We have already engaged Standard & Poor's. We've had a rating call. The district does not currently maintain a bond rating, but the historical bond rating for the district was an A+. That was associated with your 2015 bonds that matured in 2023, 24. I think it was 2023, wasn't it, Kim?
July
Right.
24.
24, yeah, so 24 is correct, yes. The timing of a bond issue typically takes 75 to 90 days, and we started this process back in September. And to be deemed bank qualified for 2025, we must close by December 31st. And because it takes 30 days to close a bond issue, that means I have to sell bonds by the end of November. Federal tax law requires a commitment to spend 5% of the proceeds within 6 months. So that would be $500,000. And you would have to spend 85% within 3 years, which would be $8.5 million. And with tax exempt bonds, outside of the 3 years, you have to be committed to spend 100% in 5 years. Any questions on those financing considerations?
So just to clarify, if it did pass on November 17th, the board votes to approve that resolution, then within 6 months, you said, we'd have to spend 5% of that, which is $500,000. And within 3 years, we'd have to extend it to
$8.5 million.
$8.5 million, yes. And in 2026, if the Board of Education decides that they wanted to do projects that would exceed 10 million, we could go into another phase, which I believe the efficiency network is going to come up tonight and talk about, to borrow another 10, but we can only do 10 million at a time. Is that correct?
Yes, that is, if you can close a bond issue in 2025 and you move forward in your phases, I could give you $10 million towards the end of 2026. Otherwise, you would be locked into $10 million until January of 27.
So if I understand this correctly, if this passes, we are locked into spending $10 million.
Yes.
That's insanity. I'm sorry, no offense to you, but I am completely against this whole thing. Especially now that I'm hearing that we are required to spend all 10 million of it with no plan.
We're getting to that tonight.
Okay.
We'll get to
We'll
it.
see where it goes.
Yes, Garrett.
I notice under our resolution that the bond amount is not to exceed 11,790,000. Is that additional amount just fees? Is it still a $10 million bond and does it qualify as the bank qualified then?
That's a great question, and I'm so glad you asked. I wish Tim Wachter was here because that's a legal thing. But when you do a not to exceed, and if it would pass next Wednesday, you're authorizing me to sell bonds, not on a board date. And so when you do a not to exceed, you have to build a box that's usually 20% higher than what you're actually going to sell. Because if you think about a mortgage style amortization, I'm going to have 25 to 30 principal payments. And as interest goes up and down, you know that mortgage payments are more heavily interest in the front and principal in the back. I have to have room to move the principal in every year because I'm not locking in the rates that night. Embedded within that resolution, it will state writtenly, grammatically, that PNC cannot sell a dollar over $10 million, although the schedule in the back will reflect that $11 million because each principal will have some wiggle in it to allow me to move the amortization to create a level debt service. But that's a very great question. And thank you, because Garrett, I should have probably gotten into that on Thursday and it just never came up.
Did you have a question? I just wanted to make sure I was clear. So it means nothing whether we were to go ahead and make a decision to go forward now. We can go forward in January, February, or March, and we will still get 10 million if that's what they decided.
Correct.
It just means that we would have to wait another year to be able to go for more money if they felt they wanted to do that.
Yeah, for example, I saw a list of projects from 10, and that was to order all the equipment. It was not the installation. So the fear would have been if you don't close a bond issue this year and you guys do come to some conclusion, you might have the money to purchase the equipment. You may not have enough money to install everything you'd like to do. So that is the one limitation.
That'd be from our fund balance.
Yes.
But, and that comes up to my second point. We can't, you want us to have a contract, because you can't do this without a contract for expenditures, correct? And they're saying on the flip side, oh, don't worry, you're going to go ahead and contract for X, Y, and Z, and you can change this later. But that doesn't ring clear to me, because if you're saying to me, I have to do this now in order to make these purchases. Once you've made those purchases, you're not going to go back and say, well, no, you can't do this building and this building now instead of that, because I just purchased this product for this project that you signed a contract for.
I don't have a contract. What you're maybe talking about is what you're going to sign with 10.
Right. We have to, you told us the other night, we
You-
have to have the expenditures and submit it to you to come to that dollar amount.
And they gave them to me. It lists that you could do renovations and additions to every building on your properties.
But if they're saying to us, well, we need to hurry and do this now because we have to order product. If you're ordering product now, then you're locked into those expenditures. You're
Yes,
not
you're
going to eat
encumbering
that.
funds now.
Well, you bought the pipes and the,
Yes.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
mine, I know. Well, they're gonna speak
And
next.
the question I have about that, if we haven't decided what exactly we're going to do, because the last thing I saw, there were at least 3 options, and who knows, there may be more at this point. How would we know what to buy if we don't know what we're going to do?
I could answer that. We talked about phase 1, which 10 is going to present. And they've talked with the operations committee the whole time about the most critical needs of the possible 1 constant, the junior, senior high school. But phase 2 would give the board the data, the information about the exact state of each building, the costs, and if the board directed them to do the different configurations of what they want to look at, of all 3 renovations, 2 renovations, 1, all the different renovations and configurations. Phase 2 would be that study, which the board would have them in front of them in order then to make in February, March, the decision they want to make.
So
We
what,
don't have that information now. We're not at that point yet.
so what you're telling me is you want us to take the $10 million bond because we have phase 1 where we could be fixing critical issues, and then we will look at phase 2?
Yes.
No, where's your end goal? What is our long-range plan? What are we gonna look like in 10 years? I'm not throwing taxpayer dollars out at something that we're gonna look at later.
Let's watch
It's
it.
in the presentation.
It's in the
And-
presentation, yeah.
And also, no, again, this is not directed to you at all.
No, and I'm not
This is
taking it personally.
am
I really
completely
want you
against
guys
hiring
to,
PNC without doing an RFP. An interview is not the same as an RFP. This should have went out to RFP, been rubric, and the board should have decided. It should not have been, here's what you're doing because we like them. This should have went out to an RFQ. I disagree with how this was done.
Okay, we did, first, so you know, as a record, interviewed the top 3
Correct.
institutions, Raymond James, First National Bank, and PNC. And we went based upon, Kim and I, the recommendation to the board last month, based upon the interview we had with them, their references, and the work that they've been doing with the different bond councils and companies.
If you're asking me to spend $10 million of taxpayer dollars, I want more than just here, we think they're the best. I want to know why. I want to see A against B against C. I don't believe this should, and I understand it's professional services. We don't have to do it. We can co-stars it, we can KPN it, but I believe if we're spending this amount of money, the board should have seen an RFP. I personally do not like how this was handled.
I
Did
apologize.
you didn't do it, and again,
Yeah.
you did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I
You
just-
followed rules and regulations. I just
informed the board the
disagree
whole
with
every
how it
step
was
of the way.
completed. Yeah, again, there was nothing nefarious done, nothing done incorrectly whatsoever. I just disagree with the steps that were taken to do it.
All right, let's move to 10.
okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank
please,
you.
Elisa, if you have questions, other questions for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Met some of you on Thursday last week. My name's Joe Pears. I'm with 10. This is Rob Campbell. He's the president and CEO of 10. Wanted to just start off with just kind of a background summary. We were engaged earlier this year via an RFQ. You guys put out an RFQ for ESCO services. We put a submission in and were selected by the district to engage into what's called an investment grade audit. We delivered that investment grade audit for some of the schools last Thursday. And out of that meeting, we had a list of energy conservation measures, or what some people would call projects. And what we did with those projects was had a litany of construction costs. If you want to go to the next slide, I don't know if somebody's, thank you. Construction costs.
You have it in front of you too.
Yep.
Just in case you can't see.
Yep, it's right in front.
Thank you.
Construction costs, energy savings, operation and maintenance savings, and some energy-related cost savings. We looked at the senior and junior high school, as well as some other ECMs that were presented in the IGA for Sandy Creek Elementary. Just so everybody understands, this is a very this is kind of like the beginning of this process. This isn't, we're not to the end of this process. The reason that we are coming to you folks and letting you know that this is potential for potential projects that you can do in 2026, but in order to do it in 2026, we would have to get rolling pretty soon. So we're giving you the opportunity or the options to start a project in 2026, and we focused on what we call the back of the house style equipment. So it's mechanical equipment, HVAC equipment, as well as electrical equipment that we're looking at here. And we've mentioned before in the operations meeting, but some of these items, number 4 and number 5 specifically on this list, have very long lead times.
The electrical upgrades themselves, some of the what we call electrical gear for the high school would be almost 52 weeks, so almost a year before you would actually see the equipment. So it's not, as part of this, it's a provision to purchase this equipment, and it's a provision to do the engineering design to have it installed into the schools. One of the lists that I gave you that's in front of you guys right now is this spreadsheet, and it is a bit of an eye chart, and I do apologize for that, but it's a list of all the equipment, mechanical HVAC equipment at the junior, senior high school. And listed in there, and I didn't show this to the operations committee, but it was part of my investment grade audit report, which was the binder we reviewed. But it has a list of all the equipment at the high school, HVAC wise. So boilers, pumps, air handling units, rooftop units, unit ventilators, and the age. And I had pointed out in that meeting at that time that, you know, the average age is 35 years old of the equipment. So one of the reasons that we're here today and talking about this is that you do have aging equipment within this school. Nobody can say tomorrow that this is going to break or that's going to break. We know that it's past the useful life expectancy. We know that for sure. Some equipment's older than others. We've evaluated the equipment. We feel like the district would be making a good decision for future, for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Some of this equipment lasts 35 years if you were to put this equipment in today or next year or the year after. I want to make it clear that I'm about as low pressure of a salesperson as you're ever going to meet. You can, where's my buddy? There he is. You can ask Leon about that. Leon's like, Joe, how come you haven't been bothering me about these projects in the past? And I said, I'm not going to bother you. If you guys want me to help, I'm going to try to help. I'm going to provide you with information so that you can make decisions. Oh, I apologize. Here you go.
I'm looking through my paperwork and it's not here. Sorry.
Apologize. Thanks for putting your. So looking through this initial list of projects, it is for, again, the junior senior high school. And one of the reasons we focused in on junior senior high school is because we know that the junior senior high school is going to be here and it's a permanent facility. We talked about doing a boiler plant upgrade. A new chiller plant is an option for the school district. We just investigated that for you. Domestic hot water heater upgrades, electrical upgrades, which is all brand new gear, emergency generator upgrades, and there's two separate numbers there. So let me explain that briefly. During the operations committee meeting, they said let's maybe potentially greenlight a few of these projects, and if we do that, we want to know what it's going to cost less. The cost is going to be if we aren't going to do a chiller plant, which is obviously an option for the school district. The electrical upgrades, if you are to do a chiller plant, would be $979,824. If you aren't going to do the chiller, it's $900,183. Same thing with the emergency generator. It's just a smaller size. It'd be $395,000 compared to $362,000. So these are options for the district. The way that we work is we go through a primary contract with you that we've been working with on the legal side, just to make sure that everybody's clear on terms and conditions. We haven't populated that contract because we don't know what projects or if any projects that you folks want to go forward with. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm going to let Rob speak for a little bit here, but I just want to make sure we're clear on kind of where we started and where we're going. Go ahead, Tracy.
Where are the other two elementary schools listed?
So this was just preliminary work that we did on local. Yes, and it will eventually. And so what?
Oh, no. See, we were under the impression that it would encompass all of them this evening, that we would be fully informed. That's not correct?
Well, phase one wasn't every elementary school,
Why?
because there's not enough funding to do every elementary school.
Shouldn't we look at all of our facilities though?
We are looking.
I thought
at
that
it.
was the whole purpose.
It's later on in this presentation, though.
Okay,
In resolution 17 on the second page, it says the funds required to finance the design renovations of the junior senior high school, Sandy Creek Elementary School, Central Elementary School, Victory Elementary School.
Yeah,
So
they're all in there.
So I
They're all gonna be
You want to
looked at.
explain why again that resolution is written that way? So if the board does decide on other elementary schools, that first 10 million can be used for that as well. That's what our bond council read.
and it's
Not wrapping ourselves in one building.
it's a really good question. It's a good one, and we get it.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And one of the best ways I can explain this is our work that we're currently doing with another school district. Okay, so at Somerset Area School District, we are on our 7th amendment to the contract, and the contract has gone for, I think, 4 or 5 years now, right? And the reason why it's structured that way is to allow every stakeholder in the district, everybody that has a concern for the local or for the future of the district, to provide input on where the money should be spent. And it isn't just cost and savings. Okay, it isn't just mathematical, it's people. You know, we're talking about students here, we're talking about people that work in the district. So the way that these are structured most effectively is to do them over time. Okay, and there's if I had to guess, if I had used my years of experience and my very limited knowledge of your district to this point, I would say there's maybe $50 million worth of capital needs that the district has at all of its facilities. Okay, you have limited resources to get to all those capital needs, right? You just don't have that much money. You also have concerns about raising taxes, right? And you can only do that in such a limited way. So the purpose of a GISA contract is to allow a company like ourselves to work with the district to identify the most immediate needs associated with the district and do projects over time. The reason why this list was created was because there was a sense from everybody that we've been working with so far that the high school was going to be part of the future and that there was an immediate need there now. There's heating equipment that is beyond its useful life. And what happens sometimes is that boilers, the things that heat the school, fail in the middle of the winter, right? And when they fail in the middle of the winter and you have to pay for those repairs, most of the time you pay a premium for that, because you're at the mercy of the contractor, and maybe the contractor is already busy doing other heating system improvements for residential and commercial customers, and you don't have the ability to get the best pricing. Okay, so looking at these fundamental, and Joe shared the life expectancy of the equipment, these pieces of equipment that are beyond their useful life. This emergency generator was installed in 1962. They don't last that long, right? Like, it's still there and it's still operating. And if I asked anybody in this room, do they think it's going to last? I don't know. Like, I can't tell you if the boilers are going to fail next week or 2 years from now. All I can tell you is there is an industry called the American Society of Heating and Refrigeration Engineers, and they assess what the life expectancy of the equipment is. And the equipment that we've identified here is beyond its useful life. So the phased approach to do the projects, the borrowing of the initial $10 million, which can be spent for up to 3 years, 85% for the first 3 years, this is intended to get started. This is what the operations committee discussed with us last week in terms of, like, we identified these first handful of projects because it was convenient, and it was also assessed as a need at the high school. So I'll stop there.
And Alicia, talk about the financial responsibility of not doing a large bond versus phases, increments of 10 million, about how you can resell them or refinance.
Well, the largest feature of the bank qualified is the refinanceability in 5 years versus 8 to 10. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. And this could be used, again, since the resolution Randy brought up, just so everybody's following along with any of the buildings that they decide to use in projects, or if something would fail at Victory or Sandy Creek or at Central, we could use this for those capital and not have to use our fund balance.
Now, other proposals I've seen since I've been here, some of them involve closing one or more schools. Would any of this financing cover enhancing an existing school to take care of those students, or building a new one even to take care of all the students?
The bond resolution, when we met on Thursday, the bond resolution was much more concise. It only was going to allow you to use funds at the high school and I think Sandy Creek. And when we left that conversation, it was understood that phase 2 would involve some of the things that you're talking about, and that we should expand the resolution language to include every district building so that all options were still available to the board as you guys made your determinations on what future generations and what the buildings were going to look like.
Which is not tonight.
We expanded the definition on the bond to be virtually any capital project within the district.
And that's not tonight. That's after the in-depth feasibility study
Okay,
that phase two is going to talk
So-
about.
let me make sure I'm hearing this correctly. We're being asked to approve a $10 million debt to fix our buildings that, on a plan that isn't done, that we have no end goal to, so we don't know what we're doing. So we're gonna take $10 million and say, sure, have at it, and we're just gonna work at it while it's going. And in the meantime, we're stuck being forced to use $10 million.
Yes.
Would you build a house and be like, yep, hey, take that brick and start, by the way, here's $10 million and we'll figure it out as we go. That is exactly how this is coming across. We're figuring out as we go. We need to know what the end result is going to be before I'm willing to use taxpayer dollars on something. Anything. We have no end result. Phase one is half completed and we're supposed to say, yes, here, take $10 million to complete phase one. And then once phase one is done, well, what's left over, we'll start on phase two. There is no end to this. We have no idea what we're looking for or looking at.
You want to talk about what phase two, because we don't have that information.
You're right. See, there is no phase two yet, so we're taking out money for something we don't know what we're going to use it for.
Let's do some feasibility study, but I did have a question to your note. Can you take a $5 million bond or a $4 million bond?
Absolutely.
Any amount.
And have we done a population study to know, is the population still growing? Last I heard, it's only growing in the Victory area. In the entire county, if that's the case, why are we focusing on Sandy Creek and not fixing Victory? And as Randy said, what are we going to do with the schools? Are we going to have 4? We're going to have 3? We're going to have 1 super school? We have no idea what we're doing, and we're being asked to sign off on borrowing $10 million to start. That is completely irresponsible of us. Completely irresponsible.
Needs to be fixed. We need the money. So where are you gonna get the money? Stuff has to be done now, like the lights. We talked about this at the operation meeting.
So
There's
when are you
stuff
going to
that-
remodel the high school?
Huh?
When are you going to remodel the high school? When do you plan on doing that? See,
Once they
we
get
don't
the
know.
phase-
That's it. There's
It's
no
already-
plan.
There is a plan.
There's no plan. There is a plan to do,
We're
start here and then work as we go.
Well, you're talking about Victory.
Anything. So let's say, okay, we're looking at the boilers, 1.5 mil. Let's say, okay, let's fix it. They're at end of life. Okay, that's great. Then we have something come up and we have to remodel the high school. And the architect says, nope, we don't want the boilers there. We're gonna need new boilers. So now we spent $3 million on boilers.
Will they offer?
We're looking at Sandy Creek, which is probably one of the better of our 3 schools. Victory, God bless the kids out there, are in the worst school ever. We need to know, are we keeping Victory? Or are we closing Victory? We can only fix so much of it
Well,
before we have to bring it all up to
be
code.
voted on. Victory. Victory
Exactly.
hasn't been done anything
That's the problem.
50, since 1952, since it's been built.
And that's the problem. We have
Rick,
no
the
idea
guy
what
that
we're
was
doing in
here
the end.
said,
We will.
For the meeting.
That's what this
Okay,
process
But
is.
you're
A
saying,
meeting a
perfect.
few
you're
wheels
saying,
back.
You tell
you're saying
me
you
where
spend
the end
this
is
10
going to look
million
like.
and
You
then,
finish
and
that
then we'll
process
let you
and
know
then
it's
I'll sign
behind
off on
door
it.
number 2,
No.
what you're gonna get to do next.
Well, to piggyback
Now-
on the unknown, in resolution 17, there are 17 blanks where information has to be filled in, and many of them are dollar amounts. And so we're voting on, I don't know. And 17 blanks is a lot of information that isn't there.
We're voting on a hope, a whim, and a prayer.
And here, 2 things can't be true at once. You either needed us to borrow this money right now this year, because you had to order that product for those jobs. But you're telling us, oh, no, we're gonna go ahead and pick those. We'll just submit that so you can get the money. And we're gonna eat that product if you decide that's not what you wanna do next.
And further, I'm not speaking for Mrs. Boyer, I'm speaking for myself, and I think board disagree with me if you disagree. None of this is coming towards you. You were hired to do a job, you did your jobs, you
Oh,
did your
yeah, I'm
jobs
not
very
mad at
well.
you, by the way.
My problem is the back end of how that all happened.
Yeah,
So
and
please don't think you're getting the brunt of it. I disagree with the entire process and how it is working. Nothing that you guys have done whatsoever.
So I need to ask this question. How would the process work to help you better understand? Because they haven't done phase 2, which is going to explain
Okay,
putting the information in front of you with the costs
I want to
with
know.
all the districts.
Do you want a super school? Do you want 3 elementary schools? If you do you want a super school? Where do you want it? When do you want it built? You're going to remodel the high school? When are you going to do that? Are you ever going to redraw the lines?
Okay.
That needs to be done, and all that needs to be in stone before we have even should have talked to these 2 people.
I have a
2
question.
groups.
Well, we couldn't have done it.
We
Why
can't,
not?
there's no
They
way.
can do it. We're not the people that do that. the district.
Okay,
They will
so,
present this.
If we
again,
decided right now
Yeah, that's the
today,
whole point.
we were done, because the state doesn't have a budget. The federal government, to my knowledge, still hasn't come back to session and everybody agreed. So if we were to say to you today, we would like to put a pause button on this indefinitely, are we out anything? Because I believe we signed a contract that said if we chose not to do anything, we're not out any money, right?
You haven't spent any money, you don't have to spend any money.
Okay, because if,
It's all for them.
because, and I'm saying this in the kindest way, because I don't mean to be a bully of any kind. I looked at your graph the other night, and if we go ahead and borrow the 10 million, you're gonna get between 800,000 and $1 million for your work, right? Was that on the top of the graph?
That's a different outcome now based on the conversation we had last week.
So it's not that number anymore.
It's less. It's
So-
6%.
So I-
What was confusing to me was that dollar amount at the top, and then when the one person asked you guys about the fees and how could you go ahead and give us these prices, wouldn't you have to worry about, the numbers going up because of the delay and the time? And you did make the statement, I believe, that those numbers are already inflated, though, with you guys, they're padded a little bit, so you guys don't have to worry you're getting money off of that.
No, okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'm going to try to take it one step at a time, if that's okay. I'm going to address the board president's question first, which was the uncertainty around committing the $10 million without knowing the full scope of the project or also not knowing what the district wants to do with its buildings yet. Okay. So this may be an incorrect statement that I'm going to make, but these projects here, the ones that we identified in green, the ones that we discussed with the ops committee, were things that everybody at the meeting last week believed would be a part of the school district's future regardless. That they would be things that would be needed no matter what the future of the district looked like in terms of where the schools were, what schools were left open, what schools were merged, what have you. They also represented known needs that the school district has for equipment that's failing, right? And is at the end of its useful life and needs to be replaced. So as part of this first phase, whatever that number is, 10 does what's called a feasibility study. And that's when we engage with all the stakeholders and we talk about the things that you were mentioning about space planning and population and all those things that are important to the district to make the next set of decisions, to spend the next $6.3 million worth of money, okay? And that is entirely up to you. And if you take this bond issuance out, it needs to be spent in 85% in 3 years. You're probably going to spend that sooner than that. You will, right? Because we're going to have a plan. You're going to have a plan in place. And so the next phase, then it looks like.
Okay, see, that's, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's my problem.
Mhm.
We're committing to take $10 million from her.
Right. So you're committing to making a
For
$10 million
something that you haven't
investment.
done yet.
Right. And you're making a $10 million investment in the district, only knowing right now about the 3.6 million or whatever the adding of the green ones is. I don't know what the, but
Right,
about
so you
$3.5
want me
million.
to put taxpayers in $7 million debt waiting on your plan?
If you all feel that there's another $6.5 million worth of need in the district, yes.
But we don't know that because the long-range plan isn't done.
Do you know, right, I'm not saying that you know what the details are of it yet. I'm saying, is there an agreement that there's up to $10 million worth of deferred capital needs in the district that can be spent, that should be spent in the next 3 years? If the answer is no, then I agree with you. If the answer is yes, then the next step, the first step of this process is installing this equipment, pre-ordering or ordering the long lead time equipment, doing the feasibility study, and then from the feasibility comes the next $6.5 million. That would be in the next 2 to 3 months. We would sit down and we go, okay, let's go through the planning process and say, okay, this is where we want to spend the money. Now, 10, go out and get detailed cost and savings information for these things. We want to do this at this school, this at this school, this at this school, whatever it is, right? But look at $12 million worth of work, and then you come back to us and we'll tell you where we want to spend the next 6.5 and stay ahead of it phase by phase. That's what we do with Somerset Area School District. we go through phase by phase by phase. Some phases are big, 14 million at Maple View and Eagle and Maple Ridge. Some of them are $800,000 roof replacements.
So where does it end? If you just keep going phase by phase by phase
It
on
ends-
money that we've already,
It ends when you say it ends. It ends
but how
when
do
you,
we know we have no end goal? We're just kicking it down the field and hoping we're gonna hit something and stop.
these are all addressing deferred capital maintenance needs that you have. That's the purpose of the project, right?
Okay,
is
so
to-
let's just look at line 5 for me. And I realize I'm going out kind of on a limb here.
Yeah, yeah.
Emergency generator, that's great. Let's spend $400,000 on an emergency generator. And then we decide in 3 years, we're gonna be like Oil City and we're gonna bring 5th grade to our school. And we're gonna have to build on. Well, your emergency generator isn't gonna be big enough to run if we build onto a building. We're gonna have to go back and then we've wasted $400,000 because we didn't get enough BTUs or anything to fit it. We need to know what this is going to look like in the end. I just can't comprehend taking out $10 million in debt for an idea. And that's what it is. It's like, hey, we could do this and then we'll figure out how we're going to spend the rest because we're required. That's like giving your wife $10,000 and say, go Christmas shopping, buy a bunch of whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, but spend every penny of it. And that's what we're doing with $10 million. You're forcing us to spend money on an unknown.
Well, I mean, the
And
high
that's
school, we
the
know.
capital expenditure, like, that's how that works, though, like.
I understand.
In local government, it doesn't work like that, but that's how a capital expenditure works.
I understand how they work, but we need to know what we're getting in the end. I
You
think that we don't
not
have
in
a
capital
plan.
expenditure.
And I
You
think-
don't have.
I think the
a
problem
plan.
is none of us have had meetings to decide
You guys just have a meeting.
what we want to.
That's where, go ahead and go with phase 2, go ahead. Because the 10 million is 10 million per calendar year, not fiscal year. If we didn't do 10 million for 2025, we could do 10 million next year. If we did 10 million 2025, and after phase 2, the board decides that they're going to do $25 million in upgrades over the next 5 years or 3 years, then we could do 10 more million or 4 more million.
That makes your case worse. That's taking more debt for something we don't know what we're getting.
But that's where the board's gonna have to make those decisions when they get the information in front of them
Correct.
with the costs in the plan.
I completely agree with that 100%.
That's exactly-
That's where it starts, that's not the finish line. That is the beginning.
That is the beginning, but this. gets-
No, this is backwards. You're telling us, take out the
We
10
shouldn't
million
have
in
to spend
debt
10
and
million.
work towards something. We don't know what it is, but work towards something. And take out more money if we decide we want to work towards something else. No, tell me what it's going to look like when we are done, and then we will take out the debt to get to that goal.
All at once or in phases, hopefully phases, because that's the best way.
Well, it doesn't matter, because at this point, we have no end goal. We have no idea what the end is going to look like.
Okay, let's talk about phase 2 so we can know how that's gonna look and when it's gonna look. Is that okay?
I
I think-
just have a
Andy?
quick comment,
Yeah.
if I can make a comment. So the high school, we had lengthy discussions at the high school, our elementary is gonna be the tough discussion, especially for the new board. We're gonna have some hard conversations to make, especially, with Victory with their huge needs. So we're like the high school, we know the
So
high school.
here's my
Hold on.
question.
All right, hold on, let me go.
Okay, fine.
So we know the high school, it's not gonna change, because we don't have, the elementary's done, we got a roof, our windows are done, doors are done, lighting's done. Now we're in mechanical.
You
Which is
don't
the
know what
boiler.
will change.
Well, it's not gonna change
So-
before we do the elementaries, I guess, and I'm just let me finish. So, a lot of the concern I hear is we're taking an extra $7 million, with no plan.
I'm not
So,
trying to be combative.
just-
I just want to see it in black and white. So you just said Victory has huge needs, but where is that?
Okay, but let me finish. So why can't we do it? The bond, it's evident the board has concerns with taking out extra money.
I know we
Yeah.
need the money.
So, yeah.
I think we
So
all know that.
if you
No, we
take
don't.
out 5 million or 4 million and get this stuff done. She already said in January, you can reapply for more. So,
But someone has to pay for that.
But-
And
what I'm saying is the plan should be done by April, I would think. For the entire district and every building.
Perfect.
The hard discussions are done. So tonight,
So tonight, we do nothing, and when the plan is done,
well,
we talk.
tonight, we really need to get the boilers in high school done.
No, we don't, because we don't have a plan.
Well, we got hit for 120 grand last year because of the boilers breaking down. I mean, what's gonna happen this year? I
So
don't
if
know.
we
Right,
just spend
then it goes down.
120 grand so far, cry from $10 million.
That's in 1 year, not 10 million. No, it's one, they have to order this equipment, and that was another one of my questions. Do we get charged for the equipment, or we get charged for the entire construction cost of the boilers? Are we just,
Yeah, the boilers are full installation. IEC is full.
yeah, but when you order it, like when we pay you, are we paying the 1.4, or are
You're only-
we paying?
you're only paying for
material bill?
So you're only paying for committed costs as we incur them. So sometimes the manufacturer will ask for a 30% deposit at the time of order, and then another 30% halfway through, and then another 40 at the end. Some manufacturers say, don't worry about it. When it drops at the site, then you pay us that for that amount. So it would depend, but this is an installed cost, right? So if going back to this boiler one, because it's been discussed the most, if under contract, we would immediately go and buy those boilers. The reason why we would do that is so that we could start to install them after April 15th, when the heating system goes off, and we can get in and we can do the work during the summer, so that it can be up and running for the next school year.
I guess my cost, sorry, I just go over, we use stored material is my term for that. Are we paying stored material, or are we paying 1.4 million? Because a lot of
You're
concern-
going to pay this you're going to pay this over maybe 10 months,
I mean, I can understand
progress draws.
taking out 10 million for $3.7 million in projects. Yeah, I see why people are like, that doesn't make sense, especially when in January I can just apply for 10 million more if I want it. They're making a valid point.
I think I'm hearing a valid point. I'm hearing you want to pay incurred interest on things that you don't know where you're going to spend the money on,
Yeah.
right? I think that's a valid.
If
I-
we haven't looked at Victory yet.
And see, that's our
Or central
problem. I think we're
Hong Kong.
dancing around the subject. We
But
need to
if we want
decide.
But the high school, we
Victory,
know.
he did a feasibility study. Rick's not here. And I remember at one of the meetings, he said to fully renovate Victory, and nothing's been done
Right.
since 52. And he gave us a price of $18 million.
I get that. Where is that here for the
Okay.
rest of us to see
That helps,
though?
Ron, because
And
none
when
of us
he
have
said
that
that,
number.
I looked at him and said, does that make sense to put that much money in a school?
That's that.
He
all.
goes,
Okay.
no, you'd be better off adding on like Sandy Creek, doing add-ons to Sandy Creek. You know, 18, people are gonna get mad. You're gonna put 15, 10, whatever into
No,
a school
I totally
that
agree with you.
haven't
18
been done
million.
nothing
Yeah,
since 1952. It's falling apart.
I think all we need is like a work
So
session
if the
for all of us to
feasibility-
go over
if
all
you-
this.
I think
You
we're
can't
getting
put-
caught up on what's
take-
going on, because
Take $1 million
why don't I
and
have
put a
that?
bandage on it. Well, this will cover it for this time
What
being.
is that?
I would like to change a little bit of I think what's misconceptions here. This was done by SES and HDG, presented to the operations committee in
10 years
June,
ago.
I believe,
June.
June 10. And it lays out the condition of all the buildings and the main needs that are in there. And it also has stakeholder engagement surveys at the back, the information from that. I want to also state that
Why don't I have
Victory is not in nearly as bad a shape as what is being discussed here. It's simply not from this study. There are needs at Victory, that just like every building needs HVAC equipment, according to this study. Every building needs plumbing, according to this study. The things that are needed at Victory that aren't needed at the other buildings is potentially the water system and the septic system. But structurally, Victory is fine. Victory is in good shape according to this.
The only
So
problem.
I just want to lay
No, I agree
that
that the only issue with Victory when it comes to making any changes whatsoever is we recognize it is not up to current code, and you can only do a certain percentage of remodeling or bringing stuff before we have to bring the entire building up to code, which would cost us that 18 million. But like he's talking about, Victory needs a water system, but yet that's not on our paper, but we're saying that it's important that we put new stadium lights up.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
you
you.
kids don't get to drink good water all day, but hey, we're watching football on Friday nights. There is something inherently wrong with us as a school board when we're putting sports over education.
They are in extremely poor condition.
Then let the
All
red and
the
black come do
papers
some
now.
What's an extremely poor
fundraisers.
condition?
Those football lights in the panel.
We're so
Okay,
lucky
so
we're in public
again,
session now.
we're putting Friday night football over the health of our students at Victory.
No, we're doing.
We are
junior-
sitting, we
hold
should
on.
not be sitting in these seats if we believe that's the right way to go.
I started earlier by saying this is the senior high school, critical items. And that's exactly what this is.
It is critical items.
But that is,
So-
there's no way I could consider, okay,
If
yes,
you want extra money, to your point, like the extra money sitting on there is not planned. I mean,
it's not extra money, it's taxpayer
okay,
dollars for
okay,
a
I'll
plan
reword
we
it.
don't have.
The remaining balance of the 10 million is not planned, and and I understand that. That makes sense. So can we make that bond 4 million instead of 10 and just do
Sure,
what's
I see.
critical for the high school? And the new board sit down and talk about the district-wide plan for every building.
Show what phase two is, so everybody understands. They
Perfect.
can make informed decisions based on actual cost, real-time costs with all four groups. 'Cause you-
Before we-
And at that
before we
point
go
in
to phase
time,
two-
that's when we should be discussing taking out money,
Before we
not
go to
until.
phase two, can we break this off as a separate project?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the intent is to have, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Randy.
And also, I wanted to say, and I told Sabrina and Gino, this was all operations, but when it got to this, I told them both, this is beyond operations. Every board member as part of this project or projects or whatever you want to call this. So operations, in my opinion, it's more capital funds projects. Like, we're not designed for the decisions that are going to be based in this with the elementaries. We're just like starting to discuss what this district needs. And when the elementary plans come in, yeah, we're gonna have some tough conversations.
That's
But
And
for
those
now-
conversations should happen before we take any money out
Well,
of
the
it.
high school needs done.
Guys,
There's
we
no
do not
debating it.
need new stadium lights right now. You might think we do, but I'm promising you, I'm going to give his kids clean water over sitting out there with good light.
Okay, we can.
But we don't have a plan, like
We
Victory's.
have no plan.
The high school is step one. And we know the football field's staying, and the breakers, like, we're getting breakers out of a box trailer, and that's it, like, and then we're done. You know, it's not even safe. We're using sodium bulbs.
I'm not
I think the
disagreeing that
energy
this needs
savings
to
are
be done, but
$11,000 a year.
I agree it all needs to be done, but we need to know what we're doing.
We are at the high school. We know what we're doing at the high school.
Rob and
For
Joe,
now.
can you talk about phase two? So that everybody knows how that's gonna work. would
So,
work?
so part, as
Tell
part,
us.
as part of phase one, we'll conduct a feasibility study, and I'm in support of it being more than just the operations group as part of that exercise, because the decisions that need to be made are much greater than just deferred capital. So that would then have 10 coming back to the board, working with the board, probably in a session week, every week, to look at all of the costs and savings associated with all the things that are in that study and everything else. We would bring to bear all of our experience on that as well, right? And then at the end of that, we would sit down and go, here's the budgetary costs for all the things that we looked at. Then it would be up to the district to decide if they want to do any of it or some of it or all of it. And that would be over a course of whatever time you want to borrow at the cadence that you want to borrow the money at, or whatever funding source that you have to do the work. So it could be, like I said before, the first phase could be 3.66 million. The second phase could be $1 million. The second phase could be 7 million. So it's all dependent on your understanding of how you can secure the funding at whatever rate that you can secure it at. But the feasibility study would have those things all laid out for you to look at, to say, okay, here's the relative cost of all these things. So if it was the water issue at Victory, that was, okay, like, if we're going to go outside the needs currently of the high school, that's the next one we want to do, then you put that in the amendment, right? If it's something else at Central, or if it's something else at Sandy Creek, if we decide that, yeah, these electrical upgrades, we need a new generator there, we can at least size it for what's needed there. If there's plans to do something else for that facility, it needs more backup, you just add another generator. It's not a wasted cost, right? But that's where we're going to be able to help you decide, make those decisions too, and say, wait a minute, if there's any doubt whatsoever about what you're going to do with a facility here, then we suggest that you do something else, or put that off until phase 4, right? That's the beauty of these projects. That's why school districts love them so much, is because you're wrestling with a decision right now that you can't have the answer for, right? And it's going to be an answer probably that you're going to resolve over time. So your commitment to us right now, as Joe said, is 0. If you decide to do the first phase of the project, it would be whatever you decide is part of the first phase. If you conclude after that, that, you know what, we just can't get our act together, or we can't get on the same page with ourselves, we need to take a pause for a year. Take a pause for a year, right? We'll still engage with you. We're still going to help you make those decisions. Just you don't have the right information yet to make them in the right order that you want to make them in. And then Kim's going to play a critical role too, because she's going to decide how much money you can afford, right? And so that's why the ability to do this over time at your pace with, albeit uncertainty, right? Because I get the uncertainty, I get it a lot, creates some anxiety. I'm trying to explain to the best I can that you shouldn't have that anxiety, that there's no commitment, to Randy's point, if you borrow only up to this first phase. So instead of the 10, if you drop it down to whatever that is, 4.
So back in 2015, HHSDR did a feasibility study, and it was laid out in full, complete. Here's what you got. Make your decisions. And then in, I think, 2022, they did another one. It
They did
came
a
with a bunch of
facility.
options.
Facility,
And-
not feasibility, facility.
It was one with the sticker shock.
Yeah,
It didn't have all the.
feasibility study, but it was
Feasibility.
not really a true
Okay.
feasibility study as what they're going to do. And they gave all these different options in here that basically were, 75 million, 55 million, 55 million. That pretty much made everybody go, whoa, wait. There's some constants in here with the pipes, the needs that they were there. They rated the different schools, including Utica. This process is not here's what you got, make your decision, go into huge debt and hope you survive. It's phasing it out over several years so we can make informed decisions based on the prices and the needs from the facility study and feasibility study, which goes into phase 2, which the board will take step by step. And as Rob and Joe was saying, Somerset, for example, is up to phase 7. We may go up to phase 2 and that's it. We may go up to phase 11. We're not making a decision on super schools, closing schools, consolidating. We're not making that decision tonight. You'll have information for the next time we sit down as a large group, as a committee of the whole, as Andy wrote, we wrote an email chain. That's something the whole board has to contemplate. And as a board, there are going to be difficult decisions we make. And the debate that we have back and forth and dialogue, you'll have the numbers in front of you. You'll have what the shape of the buildings are. And hopefully, everybody will be able to come to some type of consensus and decide what's best, because we're at the point in the district where if we don't do anything, from 2015 to 2022, 2025, things are going to start breaking down. And when they do, because it's already starting, we need to do it, we'll have to use our capital reserves, our fund balance. And if you remember a couple years back, we said, let's stop making capital projects. Let's do this. So if we have to go out for debt, and I keep going back, I know 10 million is a lot of money, but that is an increment. It doesn't have to be, but 5% has to be spent in 5 years. You don't pay on that 10 million right off the bat. You pay as you go along and you spend it, correctly?
No.
You paid you the whole.
Starting at 10. So then we could start at 3 point whatever and say next year you wanted to go higher, we could go up to 10 still, can't we, with an amendment?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really tie our hands.
I got a quick.
Doesn't tie our hands,
What-
but it's forcing us to spend money on something we haven't had study on
It
yet.
does tie your hands, because the second we go ahead and do that bond,
We're required to spend the 10
For
million.
this stuff, this is stuff that we need done.
not everything on there is something
Just
we
this,
need
no.
done, and that's where I
Right.
have the problem. If, I think we all need to come together and first make our decisions before we go into this right here, because we're putting everything else ahead of sequence. And we need to decide what we're doing with the schools, what schools are getting renovated, instead of just saying, okay, we're just gonna pick the high school, throw it out, and that's what we're gonna do, it's an easy target. This is money, and we don't know, like he said, whether we're adding on, whether we're eliminating, we don't, so to spend anything until we've made those big decisions is reckless, I feel.
I agree
To the
with
junior, senior high school, you mean?
All of it.
All of it.
I do,
I would like to add that I think that there's easily well over $10 million in capital improvements that are needed in our district.
I agree.
And it would be easy to spend that money on those improvements that have been well deferred over the years. But I have major concerns about even at $10 million, the district's ability to fund that money. And the reason I say that is, I don't want to blame any person here, but I think over the years in general, this board has done the school districts some injustice by refusing to raise taxes and putting the district in a pretty tight financial spot. And the reason I say that is if I passed out this sheet to everybody that has some info on it. According to what Alicia said from PNC, that it would cost about $685,000 a year to fund this bond at $10 million. The max that we can raise taxes this year, the max, is $550,000. So we couldn't even pay for the bond if we raised taxes to the max based on Act 1 without going to a voter referendum. We're also projected to run a $750,000 deficit at this point for Miss Eaton. Again, can't even fund that with raising the taxes to the max this year. If you look at the kind of pinkish number that I have there total, if you took those numbers and added them together, it's $1.435 million that we basically have to make up for. We can't raise the taxes that much. We can only raise it $550,000. If you equate based on our average number, what our staff costs to pay for that, we would have to raise the taxes, the max, and come up with another $885,000, which is probably about 13 staff that we'd have to reduce to pay for that. So I just want to put the numbers out there of the reality of the situation that we're in. And then likely, if we want to make more improvements, going to have to raise taxes to the max again, raise taxes to the max again. I understand we need to do it. We need to spend the money on the schools. The schools have needs, but it's the reality of the situation that we're in. And the board, truthfully, by not raising taxes since 2017, except for $250,000 this year, has put the district in this financial situation that we're in. So I just wanted to add that to everybody.
What do you propose?
To me, the answer is that we need to fix the revenue source before we need to have the budget show that we can afford this type of debt service before we take on the debt.
I agree.
And if we can't afford 10 million at this point, then there's no way that we could possibly afford the 60, 70, 80 million dollars that's been talked about for a super school. Just not going to be able to happen. So at that, my thought, without even any planning from these folks, if we can't afford that, that takes that off the table, in my opinion. Then the next thing is, okay, well, what if we were to close a school and move kids into another school? We've got lots of information in this study, and it was just sent over the weekend to the board members from the building and grounds folks, that we don't have space in our buildings right now for the number of students that we have in our elementary schools. So that's not a possibility. So to me, the only answer is we need to fix and maintain all three of our elementary schools that we have now. It's what exactly, with what? But that's the situation that we're in. We can't afford anything else. So
Well, we're
we
really
better
good at
keep
bringing
putting
all
the
the
Band-Aids on
problems,
all
but
of them.
nobody has even mentioned a solution.
I have
We've
some.
all said everything that's wrong, and this is what infuriates me, is bring all your problems you want to me. Bring me possible solutions. This is great. This is really great. What do you propose?
I propose, again, that we have a budget that shows that we can afford to take on $10 million worth of debt and pay $685,000 a year for the debt service.
How do you propose that
agree
we
with-
get there?
I agree with both of you on this. And the elementary school still boggles my mind because HHSDR did a study for us years ago. And someone correct me, maybe even the audience may need to do this. Your school is sized by square footage by each student is requires X amount of square feet. You're shaking your head like you agree, you understand that, okay. We were told that all of our buildings can handle the amount of students that we had, let's say 10 years ago, including a slight influx. So I don't understand either the original HHSDR study was wrong, or we really do have that room and we just want to have more room per student. And is the area growing? Do we need more room for students? We need a solution. You're right. Are we keeping all of our elementary schools? Are we not? That's step one. And this is step two.
Well, enrollment's declined since you closed Utica. And that was the selling point of closing Utica, is there was ample room at Central for all of our children, plus more. And now we have
and
less
at Sandy
students
Creek.
and we're out of room.
That's okay.
No, I was not. I was sitting out there just.
I said, it's been so long now, I can't remember who was on the board when HHSDR did that study.
So at least in this study, there's mentions in here about students needing to be tutored in hallways, and that there's information in here, or no, this was from what Mr. Billingsley said, that at Sandy Creek at least, that there's literally been closets that have been turned into classrooms at this point.
So if I'm understanding correctly, what you're all saying is we need to put a pause on everything right now until A, we can come up with the financials, and B, until we have some kind of an understanding as to adding on, not adding on, what schools survive, what schools don't survive, fix them all. We need to have a game plan before we do anything. So if we put the pause on now, we don't owe anybody anything, we can address the financial aspect, and then we can go ahead and address what schools we're going to be dealing with. Then we can come back to the table after we've done our homework, and we can make a decision.
Resolution 17 says that we'll be using non-electoral debt, which is debt that we don't have to have the public vote on. We can just decide how to spend it. Can we put this increased taxes or this bond issue out to the public for a vote?
Oh,
Why not?
No, there are only there are very few items that can go out to referendum. And like, you can't just ask, should we spend this money? You can ask if we can raise taxes beyond the index. That is a legal
For this
referendum
reason?
but
Okay.
you can't just throw anything on a ballot that you want. You have to have, there are very certain specific items. I think there are only 7, maybe different types of, that's digging cobwebs out. 7 different types of items that can go for referendum on a public
I
ballot.
mean, I'm by no means any kind of an expert, but what I was reading about non-electoral debt is that it's used for day-to-day type operations and not for big projects.
Well, that's why we're doing 10 million to keep it under the threshold.
Because if you go over 10 million,
Yeah.
you'd have to go out for a bond with the electoral debt. Is that correct? You want to explain that?
Every bond issue that I have done in the 25 years been non-electoral, I mean, the public did not vote on it, the board authorized to do it.
That's what the
I think what
board's for.
Sabrina is mentioning is you can't just put a project on the ballot and say, do you want to build a super school? I'm using that as an example. What you'd have to do as a board is you'd have to create the project, you'd have to associate a millage cost to it. And you would have to put the project with a defined mill on the ballot, then it becomes an electoral project. But every project I've ever done is a non-electoral project.
So looking at next steps, having all the information in front of you, what the projected costs are, what the costs would be in a feasibility study for all the buildings. Not just junior, senior high school, which we know needs to be done. But Alicia, of course, works with us too, to tell what that would look like. In costs, we would do that because every configuration that you as a board look at would have different costs and different revenues. You can't think staff costs are going to remain constant because it all depends upon Whether we keep 3 schools, 2 schools, 1 school, that all changes because of the classroom sizes and the amount of services. And to date, we've not had to cut staff. And with all the retirements coming up and where we're positioned, that'd be something that would have to be factored in. Kim, chime in. I know, Lisa, we talked about that. 10, that would be have to factored in to a financial plan for every configuration as well. Does that make sense?
You take all the costs of that building
Yes.
and then project it
There's a
out.
lot that goes into it. But that's where the board would have the information they need to be able to make that decision. And again, I just go back to phase 1 and why the operations committee, we've worked through this. These were the low-hanging fruits just to get started, these items.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, I think we've all agreed we would like to tackle this one thing at a time.
What are we looking at? Let's just say that from, on your sheet here, like 50 years old to 64. Obviously, these are past their life expectancy.
Right, yeah.
That's
Say
your-
tomorrow, every single one of them decides that they're going to just
Yeah,
stop.
And it could
obviously,
happen.
that's not all.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
everything happens in 3, so let's just say 3 of them.
Right. So the idea behind this work, the back of the house work we had on the screen, the boiler plant, your chiller plant, it's obviously, if you don't do chiller plant, it's kind of understandable. But it's to get the project started. You have equipment, again, acid use for life. You have piping, that's probably more of a concern than the actual equipment within the building. You've already started replacing some. There's been about 13 different unit ventilators, classroom, that look just like that throughout this school that have been replaced. When they ordered them, they chilled water coils in them, expecting at some point that potentially they're going to add chilled water to this school. I know that there's other schools, and we certainly get you guys information on all those schools. That is part of the phase 2 conceptuals, the phase 2 study. But this work will help you get ready for the next phase of work. And it is sized appropriately for this school. If the footprint of this school is going to change, you're going to have to add systems to it. So if you're going to do an addition on this school, you're going to have to add a system on to handle that addition, whatever that is. So what's currently here, if this is not going away, what we're sitting in today, that's what that equipment is for. Okay, that the boilers, the electrical, the emergency generator, the domestic hot water heater for the entire school. We recently did, we talked about this in our first iterations, we recently did a pipe test both at the junior senior high school. And it's not in great condition. The water in the Franklin area is not the best water. When we do this boiler plant upgrade, okay, we're going to cut all the pipe in the mechanical space. That mechanical space has pipe in it that we can now test the water, test the corrosion levels of those pipes, and have a better understanding of what this district actually has. I heard before, I think, Amy, you might have said that there was an issue that you had to put money in because of a pipe failure or something like that happened. I believe that this
for Christmas break.
Similar at Sandy Creek, similar in Victory as far as the piping concerns. So these are all things that you guys are gonna have to worry about. I agree with what Garrett said earlier. There's more than $10 million in capital deferred cost that the school district will incur. It's just, it is what it is. You guys don't have debt as we sit here today. Most school districts we run into don't have debt, they have the needs. It's just the way it is. It's just how things work. We paid off our debt, but now we have a bunch of needs. So this is an opportunity to you guys to step through the process and get these things done. The reason that we had what we had on the board is so that we can get started with construction work in 2026. I can speak construction a lot better than I can speak finance, which is why I brought Rob. He does a lot more finance side. On the construction side, you're getting zero work done in 2026. If we wait until the middle of spring to make a decision on what we want to do. Just so we're clear, and I personally have no problems with that whatsoever. I'm just simply allowing you to understand that, that's all. Did I answer your question?
I don't even remember the question.
Go ahead.
I do have one question about at least item 1 under the boiler plant upgrades. Is that replacing all 4 of these boilers on the list, or is it just the 2 older?
Yes, so we're replacing all 4 modulating condenser style boilers to get you the efficiency that you need and life expectancy would be that obviously better than what you have currently. And the pumps that go along with those will be replaced, variable speed pumps.
There's, again, I know maybe we don't want to do cooling in a school, maybe we do, but there's different options for that we can work through. These things take a lot of time, I will say that. Like, that's one thing we've learned from every school we've ever worked in. It does take time, and I see where you guys are sitting, you're like, wait a second, what is this? Hold on a second, I get it. We can do potentially a better job of giving you guys instruction as we move through these things and make sure that we're doing it quickly. But by no means do you have to pull the trigger on what we have here today. However, if we don't move quickly, like, we're not going to hit the magic window of construction through summer of 2026.
And,
Does that
and
make
by,
sense?
and by the way, I really like this sheet,
Oh,
and
good.
I would like to see this for all of the
Yeah.
schools who may not even have that info yet. But, you know, just looking at that, it makes me think, why not just replace those two older boilers? Because and in fact, I'm not even necessarily concerned about any of them right now, because
I'm not either.
the engineering company that you guys referred to said an average lifespan of 35 years, right? And none of them are that old.
No.
The cast iron,
31 and 17.
the cast iron 30 years. The other boilers that are there are called full pulse boilers, and they're past their useful life because of the style of boiler they are. We also understand from Leon that the competitors had some issues in the past.
Okay.
Domestic hot water is older than that at the junior senior high school. These aren't things that we developed them, we put them on a sheet, we got you some energy savings to go along with them. They are things that are gonna last super long. Like, this isn't a waste of the district money by any means. It's if you wanna do it now, or if you wanna wait. It's totally up to you on that aspect.
And that project is none of the other items on the list here. None of the air handling units, none of the
Correct.
No.
unit ventilators. It's only that very top
The core.
boilers.
It's the back of the house. And the reason for that is because it was told that there is potential for a renovation at the high school. I don't want to tear out all your ceilings, right, and put all new pipe in, which may be a potential thing we have to do, without also doing a renovation of the schools at that time. It takes time to design that. We can't do that in the time period we've had from being selected as the company we work with via the RFQ to today. There's just no way to develop it that quickly.
I may have misheard you. Did you say that you were told there was a possible renovation of the high school?
Yes, at any high school, yes.
But you were told there was a possible renovation of our high school.
Yeah, potential, yeah.
Surveyed all the different parties. Nobody gave them.
At any one of these
Yes.
schools.
Interesting.
There's
Okay.
potential for renovation.
I appreciate that information. Thank you.
And what was your reasoning
Hold
again?
on. They surveyed so many different groups, HDG did, that's where the survey results.
Yeah.
Nobody told them any configurations or any job, those have to be decided by the board. Nobody's directing them what to do, saying, well, we want this, we want that. That has to be coming from the board. And if there is renovations at the high school, as Joe was saying, the board would have to decide that. That's why they're not doing the pipes.
Well, I know we have to
But
decide
no
for
one's
this
telling
renovation.
them.
I just
Yeah.
found it interesting that they were told that there was a possible renovation at the high school.
Well, I want to, let me add to that real
Yeah.
quick. So they're talking about the pipe.
Yeah.
And it was said, so if we tear every pipe out of the ceilings, they said, well, obviously then you're gonna do all your electrical. You're gonna address everything in the ceilings, the electrical, the two pipes you were talking about. And then all your ceilings, it triggered a lot of extra work. And that kind of conversation did take place.
And in our operations
But that would
committees-
be a different project. It wouldn't be part of this.
Right. And
So if
It
we-
would not be part of this.
everything in the
So, yeah.
operation committees, when we had those, talked about possibilities of endless configurations and renovations and or building projects. The board has to decide that.
Perfect.
We
Let's decide what this is gonna look like when it's done, and then we can lay this all out and know what we're looking at.
Can you?
Because this is
Back-
phase one,
Mhm.
kind of.
Yeah.
It's not really done,
This is phase one, it's to get you started.
but it's not phase one,
So
really.
this is phase one.
It's
This
half of phase
So
one,
you're-
because we're still missing
Nope.
elementary schools.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
This is phase one. The reason why, again, going back to why we selected these was these were known needs of the district to replace equipment that was beyond its useful life, that everyone felt was going to be here for the foreseeable future, 10, 20, 30 years.
So phase one is like $6 million with
Um,
the lights.
3.5.
No, it's the, if you add up all the green ones,
In phase two doesn't have to switch away from this building, or phase three, it could stay here till the board's ready.
I think it might,
Didn't Tracy ask earlier if phase one include the other elementary schools, and she was told yes, so this can't be complete phase one.
it might help to reduce a little bit of confusion. Everything on this sheet was presented as phase one on Thursday, and it was at $9.3 million was the total here. Okay, and that was what phase one was intended to be. The operations committee said, we're not comfortable recommending the stuff that's all white right now.
Right.
And we recommended the things that were green to move forward with as recommendations to the full board. And then the yellow there was like, maybe we'd like to know a little bit more about
Pricing.
if they took out the chiller plant portion of it.
Right.
What they provided.
But where's Sandy or Central and Victory?
so phase one then, if I'm understanding, and
We didn't have time to develop it.
That's fair. But are you, that's fair, and I appreciate that, but is that still considered part of phase one?
No.
It could be part of phase two, it could be part of phase three, phase four, phase five, phase six. It
See,
depends
this
on
is
how
what
you
I
guys
don't
wanna
like
do it.
about the phases.
Well, right now, if I'm understanding, there is a path to maybe borrowing just for this phase one, right? We do the feasibility study as part of phase one with the district. We come back and say, okay, for phase two, it would involve $1.5 million at Victory doing these things, and $750,000 at Central to do these things, and $500 to do these things. So it would be whatever the district wants it to be and how big it wants it to be. But we don't have defined numbers yet, and we would be, I just don't feel comfortable giving you those numbers because we haven't looked at it yet in detail, right? But I think the phases are what you want them to be, and there's a lot of reasons why they can be spread out, for political reasons, for community reasons, for demographics, for population, for future,
Okay, so board members, let's go in this theory. We're phasing it all out. This is phase one. We're gonna take out $10 million worth of debt for phase one.
Well, she said we could take out less if we
Okay,
wanted.
so we're gonna take out whatever this little green number here is for phase one.
Right.
And we're gonna fix the high school. Let's not worry about Victory that is in the worst shape of all the buildings. It's fine, it can be phase two or phase three. We'll just spend more money later on, once we figure out if there's a problem. Like, I can't get on board with throwing money at something we don't know what the end is supposed to look like.
I agree, but I think that we need to be careful with how we're, because I'm gonna tell you right now, tomorrow, front page.
I didn't
Victory
understand your
kids
point.
drinking contaminated
Yeah,
water.
please, first of all, anyone in the public is sitting there, let me be clear. We have not said anything at all about closing Victory. That is not a discussion. It is just a back and forth discussion here. The water at Victory is fine. Let's just be clear, this is just a
All of
discussion.
Franklin, yeah.
We do have hard. He's
hard
talking
water
about.
It's hard water.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
No, it's an all I remember.
It's significantly different. You're talking to the daughter of a man that was his living. So you say terrible, and I'm like, oh, people are going to construe that as it's bad.
It's terrible to the plumbing.
It is. It's hard water.
Say that
Yes.
about Victory though.
Say hard.
But my
Don't do that.
understanding of
I
the
wasn't
three choices
understanding
that we
So
presented
the paper
is that
says
in all of them,
35 years.
this building stays.
But you're saying
That's right.
that number's not
So,
accurate for the.
Probably saying
Fixing the
three,
problems
too.
here is consistent with each one of those three options.
No matter what occurs, the work needs done here. That's on this list.
It needs done.
And
No matter
Andy,
what
I'm
many
not,
plans created.
I'm not arguing that at all. I just want to see what else needs done too. If
Yeah,
gonna-
we're just saying, for
If
now,
we
we know
need $10
this
million,
needs done.
I want to
So-
see what needs to be done with the $10 million.
And this,
Well, you don't have
and this
to
believe
use all
they
of
sent
it.
to all the board members,
That's not.
because I believe it was just the committee members on the
Yeah,
operations.
no.
committee.
That's a lot of them. Yeah.
Okay, well, board members, we've got too many conversations going on here for us to figure out what's happening.
All right.
Well, we're asking questions because we don't get a word in that price, so that's.
Okay. So, Randy, go ahead. You want to say what you said? And we'll just go.
My understanding is that in all of the three options that were presented in the study that I read, the high school, this building stays. So in any choice, A, B, or C, this needs to be done. Depending on which of A, B, or C we choose, we may or may not have to do Victory or Central or even Sandy Creek, depending on what we choose. But in every scenario, this has to be done.
And I think the operations committee led by Garrett made a good point on Thursday when we had this here, right? And he said, are we really going to think about air conditioning the middle school or high school when there's other needs in the district that need to be dealt with, right? And so that was a prudent decision. We took it out of the project, and now we're recommending, even to the point where, because he's an engineer, he said, well, what about your electrical upgrades and your generator? Like, are they sized for the chiller plant? And we said, yes. And he said, okay, can you go back and get an estimate to reduce the cost, right? So we went from these two numbers down to these two numbers. So the green numbers now sit here with that lower number, not including any electrical infrastructure for the air conditioning.
Excuse me, Ms. Gar, I'm going to go ahead and release you and let you go. It's getting kind of ugly out. I prefer you not drive. Thank you for being here.
So I understand, it's phase one, if this was phase one, and after the committee of the whole gets the information from other buildings and wanted to do more work on the high school, that would be a phase two. There could be 20 phases. It's all what the board decides is the pace you want to do, and then severity and the need based upon what the study is going to show.
So, right. So another example, Pittsburgh Public Schools started off with the Technology Academy downtown. We then did ADA bathroom replacements at Westwood Schools. We went to Oliver and they said, time out. We're going to have to close some schools. We don't know what we're going to keep yet. So now we're in a holding pattern now for 15 months with them. That's okay, right? Like we've been part of discussions all the way along. We've been helping them understand kind of what the cost savings might be. We've already engaged with Kim to say, here's a spreadsheet that we've used on other projects. If you want to use this, this is what we can use to calculate the cost savings if you did this versus that. And it's all part of it, right? So the second phase could be a victory phase or it could be a central phase. It depends on what the.
Does phase one have to be complete before we can start?
No, it does not.
So that is my question, like when we're doing capital, like, so phase one, let's just say we borrow the 4 million that we have here.
Yep.
Then we can start working on what is phase two. So now we're really borrowing money that we're using. We're not borrowing above and beyond what our needs are.
Yes, and
Yes.
also, that's a great point. And also, let's just say we had a real reason and need to do something almost at an emergency level. Hopefully it's not an emergency level, but we could do an amendment to this contract. If you were to sign the contract this month, let's say we want to say if you were the very next month.
So we can
We could do
reallocate.
another amendment the very next month.
That's what happens
X amount
actually.
of
Yeah,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And as things come up, you can do that. It's not the best path to do it. We're going
Sure.
real quick, but there's flexibility with this. We can add on as you.
So the steps would be confirm a phase if you wanted to move forward, secure the funding at whatever amount you wanted to, then enter into contract. We've already gone through the terms and conditions with Tim and with Kim. And then when we start, if it was, so I just put a date here just for reference, December 1st, we would start to begin the construction of the known need projects at the high school, and we'd begin the detailed feasibility study to validate the district's facility costs and savings everywhere else.
Which to be completely transparent, we have started. We are significantly down the road on that now, which is why we say we commit to February 15th to get you a completed document. Because those take quite a bit of time. We have a head start.
That's good.
Could I ask, since you guys are quite a ways down there, could I just ask one quick question? From you guys' perspective, what is our number one risk in this district of failure that you think of right now? Like what is most likely to happen this year, next year, whatever? I understand it's a
Yeah,
tough
it's
question.
tough to answer. I mean, I think just look at your oldest piece of equipment and say that's probably the one. Your emergency generator making 67.
62.
68 or 62. Again, the piping concerns after doing the piping inspection, there's some concerns there. You could have a failure tomorrow in a portion of the high school or Sandy Creek or Victory based on the corrosion levels of the piping side. So those are probably the two. Those are kind of the two top.
It does,
top
it does.
things.
One that I would really like to know is, it doesn't have to be anywhere even remotely close to accurate, but, you know, a lot was discussed about the piping in the building. What would it cost? Just completely roundabout number to replace all the pipes in this building. So like, where I'm getting at is,
I saw that.
do I want to commit to $4 million for this project when it's going to cost 20 million to replace the pipes or whatever it is?
So this is the,
I saw that cost.
So it's just the piping, just all, getting all water piping, we talked about in this school. $3 million, yeah, we'll make something, I mean,
Okay.
$3 million.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And keep in mind, Garrett, remember when we talked about the piping, that opened up the entire facility?
I
Well,
understand.
no, I'm just saying to that point, so 3 million, so it would open up a lot more that we need to look at.
and if there's piping running through this beautiful ceiling, we'd have to take it down and then hopefully carefully put it back up again. So there's a lot
I
of,
think inevitably we're gonna be doing piping.
and the first phase, the boiler work would give you a lot better, give us a lot better information to give you a better number, because we'd be able to cut into the system and be able to see the condition of the pipe.
We had, we talked about this in our first committee, we had an ultrasonic test for the pipes throughout this school and throughout Sandy Creek to see, to try to test to see what this pipe is like, both on the domestic side as well as heating hot water. And we had a report that came back last week, still working through it, but it just seems like there's a decent amount of pipe within this school that's okay, but there's some that there are issues, and Sandy Creek was a little bit worse off just in general. Obviously, much smaller schools, not as big as at Rutledge. So, yeah, I think piping is something that's going to be done. Something.
Any other questions, Ray? So, Board Operations Committee, where do we go from here?
It sounds like the board's consensus is they don't want to take more than a $4 million bond out.
I don't want
I don't want to take a $4 million bond. I want us to put a pause.
Okay, so
If
someone
you,
to
if you
follow.
put a pause on,
It just delays the-
yeah, you gotta.
I don't
set-
care if I delay it here
Leon,
because we need to know
what-
what we're doing before you
Okay,
spend any
say they
money.
don't do
Well, the-
nothing this year. But they don't want to, like, if we do what Leslie says, don't take nothing out, you can't do nothing for this year.
Right,
And the
we can do it
urgency,
in
what do you-
26, we're not a
what do you-
problem.
I wanna see here, Leon, what do you think? Waiting another year?
Most of the boilers keep going through. I don't, like I said, I don't know.
Hope's not a plan.
Yeah, well, if you wanna live on hope and a prayer.
These are things that you're citing that
The other thing to remember, this is not, again, I'm not a pressure person, but just understand, and you guys understand this in your daily life, everything's getting more expensive. So if I have to go back to all my subcontractors and get you revised pricing, do this for 2026, I can guarantee it's gonna cost more.
That's right. Just like commercial said.
I'm not saying that to sign a contract, I'm saying that just as it is, with like, just that's the way it works.
Well, I don't think a couple months is gonna make that much of a difference.
It delays about a year.
We're talking about a year, not a couple months.
You can't get it in 20.
We haven't missed the window for the bond. She told us we can apply for a bond in January and have it for that year.
No, to do the work in the summer months and get the order the equipment and not replace it for that.
Ma'am, how long does it take to get the bond?
If you table the bond till January, I will still give you money by February.
Thank you.
But the, once
what
the
they're
equipment is
saying
ordered,
So
November.
we're in the middle of November. I don't think if we came back and decided in January after we got our house in order and found out we have the money fiscally to take care of this and found out exactly what projects we're gonna do, I don't think the middle or end of November to January is gonna make that much of a difference. There is no knee-jerk reaction to have to do this right this moment.
I think the reasoning that it's, I'm about to agree with you. The reasoning this is happening is because they're trying to get the bond pushed through by the end of the year. So we can take this money for 2025, take out more for 2026.
I know exactly
Agree.
what they're
But
wanting.
that is my problem, is if we needed this and these are so, we are in dire straits and we have to do these little green things, why are we hearing about them in mid-November to push this through in 45 days? These didn't just become problems now. This should have been discussed in March or April, work through, so we had time to discuss it, not, hey, here, vote in 7 days for $10 million. It's being pushed down our
we have
throats.
two
In all fairness, in June, it was presented to the operations committee.
But nothing
to
was
us,
done
not
about
to
No
going to
the committee
bond.
as a whole.
amounts, no,
Correct.
you know.
But
But the
nothing was
capital-
done about going to bond. We're getting it with, here, do it now.
It
And
was,
here's the thing, the board changes in literally 1 month. These people that are coming in are gonna be saddled with whatever we do, and that's wrong. We should wait until they come in, because they're gonna be the ones that have to work through it for 4 years.
I disagree with that, but only because you can't, I understand what you're saying and you're not wrong. And you should never tie another board's hands, but we can't hold back on something just for the fact that new people are coming in. I agree we
And I
shouldn't be
would
doing
agree
it.
with you if she was saying, you can't get this money in January, but she's not. She's saying if we ask for that money in January, we'll have it in February. This is November. There is nothing critical that we have to have that money right this moment. There's no reason why we can't put a pause.
when's the
Because
equipment
the
need ordered?
second we
Yeah,
go
what-
ahead
what's
and
the lead
agree to
time?
this, then we pay that money.
That's the problem. The equipment needs to be ordered, so it's
Some of
here
that
for the
equipment you
summer.
won't see until 2027.
Well, yeah, you said
It takes, so there, it's the back ordering process.
That's the only reason it's on the list. That's the only
Right.
reason it's on the list.
Can you predict the lead time on these purchases?
Then in 2 months from now, it'll still be 52 weeks.
There's an idea.
That number won't change.
A lot of reports.
Yeah.
Could I make a proposal, since there seems to be a lot going around, that I think is, at least to me, seems reasonable, and I think that we could end up with the funding that would approach covering these costs. Would be take out a $5 million bond, half of what's being asked for here, and maybe even limit this scope to the high school project a little bit more, just from some of the comments that the board was saying, just knowing that we're easily gonna be able to spend around the district that additional couple $1 million in capital improvements that are well needed in the district.
I can get behind that.
No.
And you'll have the information by then, because they'll have in February, March, the feasibility study with all the costs and needs, just like you'd see.
Is there any scenario in which we get the boilers replaced before winter starts or even before winter ends?
You're talking about
Next
now.
year.
When's it need ordered
No, that's
to
not
do
gonna
it
happen.
before?
Okay, well,
It
that's
needs
something-
to be ordered by the end of this, by the end of this year, you need to have the boilers ordered. And all of this, it's more design as well. All needs to be completed. And you gotta get permits, all those things before this boiler works. So you're running up against it. You could probably push some vendors, you gotta sign something in January, but it'd be very difficult. I mean, we could not commit to it. But we currently, sitting here today, can commit to getting the boiler work done in the 2026 summer, which is the only reason why that stuff's in front of you, is because of the lead time. I want to take.
And go back
If
to
we
Gary's,
do it, we're gonna be doing it in 2027.
to go back to Gary's point, when we had that in June, why we're waiting now, this is when the information became available. They had to come in and do all their assessments, put these out, put the prices out. Just one report, even though it said that, we wanted to make sure as an operations committee, that would have been the recommendation.
Remember that report didn't include energy savings or efficiency or tying it all together.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted from them.
It's just the timing.
I
Okay, so
guess
that's from you, saying you can do it. If we don't do it right now, we can't have it in the 26, 27 year, right?
26.
There's some of the equipment you're not gonna get until 27, like the electrical stuff.
So
The boiler.
if we were to put it out for bids, what would other companies say? Is that just you, or are they gonna tell us the same thing? Okay.
You gotta order the stuff.
Industry, it's industry stuff. It's not. The switch gear is a 52-week lead time, so again, we thought that if we could get it and get it delivered, we could switch it over and it's, which is right next year, like at the end of December, when there's a longer period of time to shut system down.
See, I can't think that 1 month is gonna make, if you say it's 52 weeks now, it'll just be 52 weeks a month from now.
Well, the
But we won't
boilers,
have that information for the other buildings in a month from now. That'll be in February, March.
But maybe we would have decided what we're doing with all of these schools and what renovations we wanna do. And we would know, because they're gonna charge us a fee.
But how are we gonna know if we don't have the information yet?
Because
They didn't do the
That's
study.
perfect. That is the correct
Yes.
answer. How are we gonna make decisions when we don't have all the information?
On
Bring
the
me
other
all,
school.
no,
On the other
you bring
school.
me all the information. You tell me what you want this district
how
to look
about
like.
December,
at the
they bring
final end, and
everything
then
in
I will
for all
come
the
back and
schools
vote
and
on
we
this.
make a logical decision. How about that?
When?
December.
They can't get it done
They
that
can't get
quick.
it
They
done.
can't give us a price in December for the things that they're saying need done.
That's huge.
So
feasibility.
it's you pick door number one right now, and we don't can't tell you what the other ones
Well, we're
are.
gonna do the high school regardless.
Right.
In any scenario.
Behind door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3 is the high school.
Yeah, we're not gonna close the high school and send everyone to the elementary.
And I'm saying to you,
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
We just apply
Just
some
send
logic.
everybody
you know?
home. You can homeschool all your own kids. We don't
and
even
what's
have
what's your
that
fee?
anymore.
What is your fee? Because it was 800,000 to $1 million. What is it now? You said that's changed.
6%.
Yeah, so that was a process that we developed for other school districts. When we had the meeting with the operations group, it was clear that the funding was a concern and that the money may not be available to do $20 million worth of work. Okay? So the feasibility study, I wish I could start this. So the feasibility study is part of phase one, would identify what the cost and savings are from a budget perspective for all the different schools. Then we would take that and we would do the professional design of those focused projects that you tell us to do, and not the entire district. Not spend 800,000, spend maybe 150,000.
So
To
what,
design
is
those
it a
technical-
percentage? Is it a percentage? Like if we spend 4 million, is it 6% of 4 million? Is that the fee?
That's what it ends up being at the end, but we don't need to spend the whole 6 million. We don't have to spend the whole 6 million in order to give you firm fixed prices. We can do some of the design after the contract after the next phases that's already signed.
Yeah, and just to be clear, so like what's in front of the operations committee, what we present to them, the numbers there are what we call IGA grade numbers, right? So they're contract ready, shovel ready numbers. If we were to get you a study for the entire district, all of those numbers would be budgetary numbers. They wouldn't be contract ready, it would be.
That's fair.
impossible. And then the only reason, and one of the big reasons is because our contractors hold their pricing for 30 to 45 days. And after that, the pricing is good, they gotta go back. And then there's, again, increases, it's all increases that we get all the time, so.
Right, so that number's not firm, because if it's tariffs or whatever,
This number, the numbers in front of you are firm.
so that won't change.
Go up, so they can go up.
I mean, but if a tariff would happen, we
Yeah.
wouldn't absorb that, you're gonna eat that.
No, once you already spent, when you tariff don't, it has nothing to do with it.
It'll be a
We're
change
concerned
order.
about tariffs too, next year.
No, I'm
So,
just
we're-
saying, you've given us this price, and from the time we do this and you order it, it's changed. Because I thought I saw in your language where we would eat that, right, or no?
Only to the extent that there's a gap. Right now, if you go forward with those green projects, there's no impact on any price increases. Those are locked in, they're good for 30 days. If you decide 2 months from now, or if you want to pause, and again, whatever you
Go
like
up
to
another-
do, we have to go back to
Almost
the
certainly.
suppliers
Yeah,
and the
it ain't gonna-
subcontractors
almost,
and
it will
say,
go
is your
up.
pricing still firm? Is there any changes to it? And it could be still the same,
Chances are it's
or
gonna go up.
That's fair.
affected by pricing.
Okay, I kind of feel like we've beat a dead horse here. I think
Okay.
we all know how we feel about this.
Yeah.
So any other questions relevant to this issue, or can we actually start our board meeting?
Yeah, not for that, but I've got legal like next week.
We made it to 6.
What?
When the agenda
Number
goes out
6.
on Friday, we'll have to have it firmed up.
So what do we put on the agenda?
I'm a no on anything. Can you give me a long range plan on exactly what the
I'm a
system is
no.
gonna look like in the end?
What do you put on it for a vote?
The bond, yeah.
I don't know, because like I said, you can't put a vote on if you don't have any long-range plan. You can't get a long-range plan until you go through the second feasibility phase or second phase, which, whatever you call it, step 2, part B, phase 2.
No, we're
The
talking
board-
different things.
I think you just got to do what Jared said and put a
Right.
bond on there for 5 million, let the board vote.
How
Right,
how
there
many
you go.
members would be in favor?
Well,
of
you
that?
find out on
Do a
Monday
straw.
when we vote.
Yeah.
You put that on the agenda for 5 million, we'll vote on Monday.
I'll tell you now, I'm a no.
I'm a no, I'm not gonna vote for something when I don't know what all is.
Throw a vote right down. If no one's gonna change your vote come Monday.
Make a motion.
It's a, no, it is not on the agenda. You cannot amend the agenda for anything with monetary reasons.
Has to be on the agenda.
From that
That's right.
reserve in
Put it on
24,
Monday,
25, we took 2,900,000 and some thousand. And then in 22, 23, You guys spent the 4 million on that for the roof part. And then this year was projected, we were gonna do 2,197,000 we had to take out because we had to raise the taxes. I'm just saying, every single year, we need money. And it's, until we figure out our finances, we shouldn't be borrowing anything. And until we figure out what we're doing with the schools, we have to be concise.
Okay, I think that's step one for my, let's figure out what we're doing with our schools.
Yeah, I
So we
agree.
know where we're spending money.
Replace some boilers, 30-some years old. 60-some
Yeah, we're either gonna delay the boilers or.
Go
When they
ahead.
break.
Yeah.
For
I say we
years.
delay everything and put a pause till we figure it all out.
And all the same people sit around.
Yeah, I mean, you just roll
The
the dice.
contract says if we do nothing right now because we don't know what we're doing, then we don't have to pay the money. The second you agree to borrow the 5 million, then the money kicks in.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And our
saying.
boilers
The
are
money's
getting
gonna
done
be
next year.
used. You're gonna get stuff that needs to be done.
It has to
You
be
hear,
done.
But we
Leon?
need to just take the time to figure out what we're doing with the schools.
But no matter what.
But we
It don't
don't
matter
know
what you're gonna
boilers.
do with the school. That has to be done.
One other point, Greg, I think I said it earlier, but, you know, again, when we, if we were to do the boiler work, this summer, we would be able to have a really good idea of the pipe within the school, and then have an idea of how much of this pipe needs to be replaced. Same situation in Sandy Creek, it would be the same situation at
Central Victory.
if that's the case. So it just, it helps us plan for the future, it really does, by looking at that pipe and deciding whether or not we think we need to replace all the pipe, some of the pipe, none of it.
But we can't help you until we decide what we're doing with the schools.
And they can't help us until we decide what we're doing with them.
That's why I say
Yeah.
put
We
a
need to-
pause
we
until
need
we
to figure
find
out
out
what we're
where
doing
we're
with
gonna.
schools.
$5
before
million
anything.
to, they already said we need to replace the.
Right.
But every scenario includes the high school.
I agree with that.
So we
Right,
need- let's
so-
do the
Don't
boilers.
touch the elementary schools.
So the
Alright, so we
boilers
don't-
in
we're
every
not-
scenario are getting done at the high school.
We don't get the money unless just in Murphy's, all 4 boilers go down.
Oh,
How are we going to pay for that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How are
How
you gonna pay, wait
pay
a minute,
for
how are
it?
you gonna pay for the boiler tomorrow? Because it's not getting done till 26.
No,
This is what I'm saying, 1 month
Okay.
is not gonna make a difference.
Let
We
me
have a
ask-
capital fund for emergencies. We have a capital fund.
Oh, then we
Yeah.
still have the capital funding regardless of whether we take this money out right now.
We do.
And in a month from now, we will still have that capital fund.
So if we have an emergency and all 4 boilers go down tomorrow, how long till you can get us money? If we go to debt?
We're sitting on 2.5 million in
You know,
our account.
not out of capital fund. If you said, this is an emergency situation, I need $2 million to fix a boiler, how would you do that?
Bond, 45 days. She said it. You could take out a bond
We
and
have
it's about
bonded.
45
And it
days.
still take the timeline or longer because they have to order everything.
and pay for the damage in the school.
Well, now it's an
Right.
emergency.
And work out some interim
Well,
solution.
you would repair the existing boiler. So you wouldn't be ordering new boilers, you'd be repairing the existing boiler.
If
And
you
I'm sure
can
all of
repair
us have
them,
had
what if you
furnaces.
can't repair?
if you can repair them, because some of these are super old.
The hard water is run the walls then.
Like a 35-year-old boiler, which it looks like we have one that's 31 years old. You might not be able to retrofit a 31-year-old boiler.
Then we should look into that and see if we could. What are our options?
Leon
There
has,
is
and
no option to
he,
do
the
that.
1 year he had to like search half the country to find parts for it.
I'm not saying we don't do the work. I'm saying we don't do the work until we figured out what we're going to do and how we're going to pay for it.
But we
And I
have
understand what
figured
you're
out
saying,
ways
but
to pay for it.
my,
Hold on,
right
wait,
now,
two of you are talking, wait, stop. 2 of you are talking. We can't hear what's going on if we're both talking at the same time. I didn't get either one of you two.
it's fine. I have to use the facilities. I'll be back.
All right.
I could get behind doing a couple things at the high school, but I think our number one plan is to figure out what we're doing with the elementary schools.
At
I
least
agree.
give us the boilers.
Right,
Yeah, see,
That's.
Please give us
It's
the
not gonna cost
boilers.
us anything.
That's the Popeye Wimpy thing. I'll gladly pay Tuesday for a hamburger today. Put it in front of me. Don't tell me what you're going to do. I want to see it in paper on this is what we are doing, not, hey,
They
we'll
will put it
start
in
now
front
and then
of
we'll add more and we'll add
you.
more.
I can't put it in front of you. They have to.
Then we don't do anything more than the absolute bare minimum
Exactly.
necessary
Agreed.
until it's all on paper for, but they
I-
can't do it until we decide what we're doing.
All right, now let me reword it
So
real
stop
quick.
talking
Wait,
about, wait,
No,
no,
agree.
my turn. Stop talking in circles, board members. Sit down, figure out what we're doing with the elementary schools. Give us a 2040 plan. We need a 2040 plan. What are we gonna look like in 2040? Not what are we thinking we might do?
If we don't do something with the boilers, and we're gonna be cold. That's what we're
Give
gonna
me
do.
1 minute, okay.
We're gonna
Can-
be cold.
If they break.
If you're 31 years old,
The ones at the courthouse are a whole lot older.
Okay.
they have a bigger budget than we do.
No, I don't know about that one, but.
I just have one thing, like, if anything else, please give us the boilers, for this high school. We have to order them, like, we're
No.
gonna eat our words, I'm telling you right
That's what
now.
we're arguing about.
If Dennis were up here as a board member right now, he'd
Then
be
let's hear
beating
from
us to the
Dennis.
TV
Wait a
like,
minute.
he get these
Dennis
boilers
is not a
ordered.
board member.
He's
Dennis,
not a
could
board
you
member,
talk?
I'm just saying,
Can we let him
No, he
talk?
cannot, no.
people that work in the industry are like, you guys are nuts, they told you your boilers are bad, that you need to order them.
Then let
The
me hear
risk
that
is-
from somebody.
So I always
That
say
doesn't have a
risk,
vested
risk
interest
versus
in it.
reward.
I can concede to boiler upgrades and nothing else.
Fine, give me the boilers.
But that's not $4 million.
Okay, reduce it, but give me my
Okay, so it's
boilers is what I'm saying,
2
okay? Like,
I think
you guys are
anything
crazy.
beyond that, and I still don't agree. I'm sorry, Andy, didn't mean to talk over top
I
of you.
just, give me my boilers.
I think
okay?
we at
Once,
least
once
need
I
to
pay
do
for that, wait,
the
once we
hot water
order
as
just the
well.
boilers from them,
The hot
on
water-
addition to that 6%, what is our cost for everything that's been done in this
The
study?
boilers are 1.5.
That's what I wanna know.
So just get a bond for 1.5.
And I think we need to add the domestic hot water to that as well.
What,
Truly,
Could you say it one more time?
what is my
the
fee?
domestic hot water.
If they order just the
So
boiler,
do a bond for 2.
270.
That's for hot water and sinks and showers.
Yes.
no, I'm saying,
Okay, let
what
me,
is your fee? On top of the 6%, once we use just,
It's included, our design fees are typically dropped. The turnkey pricing. Our design's already included.
Those are final
There's
prices.
not another dollar more than what you see
okay,
so it's not another
other-
dollar more other than what I'm seeing here.
for the boilers. That is absolutely what I said. That's why we're coming to you with contract ready pricing for these sizes.
We gotta order these boilers.
Okay, wait, no, okay, Mr. Lohman or Mr. Bowen, explain to me how the boiler plant upgrades and the DHW heater upgrades go together. That's just something that's out of my wheelhouse.
DHW is domestic hot water.
That's the showers, the sinks.
That's all your hot water. And, I mean, Garrett can speak to that. I'm saying with these boilers, if we don't order them now, you delay it a year. So I always say, risk versus reward. What is the reward? I understand there's gonna be a plan, but every plan includes these boilers. Like,
But I just,
you're creating 1 year of risk to the school district that's
Okay.
unnecessary.
no, I'm okay
You know-
at the boilers. He just
Okay,
said get the
good.
DHW and I just don't understand
Let
how they go
Garrett speak to
together.
that.
It's because it's a fairly low dollar cost.
I just want to know what it is. How do those two work together?
Yeah, they really don't. They're separate. They're not, you have it's a lot harder or a lot larger scale than your house, but it's basically your hot water heater is the DHW that would be at your house. That's
That's a
what,
heater that's 20 years old that has a useful life.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, I just wanted to know when you said how they went together.
I have a
In the
question.
To be correct, that's for showers
The
and sinks. and-
contract.
Leon, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and we're gonna give us 2 of them to bring up instead of 1, because that way if one goes out, we can still use the kitchen and stuff like that.
The emergency generator,
Don't
try it anymore.
Just leave it.
Leslie has something real quick.
The contract. So I was looking over from Jennifer Gornell's office, and it just seems like they just reviewed it. They're not really giving us legal advice on it. They had areas that we were supposed to look at and review and make sure we were understanding, areas that they had concerns over. Have they gone
Bond
over the
counsel?
contract with you?
The bond council?
No, just
No.
Tim's,
Yeah.
Attorney Walker's.
Tim's reviewed all the contract
Yes.
documents and provided
Tim walked
me
through it,
with his comments.
Right, and he's saying, I'm not, how did he word it? I've not been a part of these negotiations in this contract, but I'm advising you, you need to make sure that you're aware of what this means, and this means, and this means. So I'm concerned a little bit about the contract, so even if I can get behind the boiler, I want to have like more understanding of the contract part after what's happened with the ball field.
Well, they have to populate it. They have to put their dollar amounts in there. And then Dr. Thomas and I were going to meet with him again and then review the contracts, but he only got vague one,
Okay, so
Because they
you're gonna do that then, you're gonna go, he's
Yes.
gonna go over this with a fine tooth comb. And then bring it back to us once he's looked at it
This Friday. we're
and
gonna
he's
review.
approved it. And if there's any language he feels needs changed, then those changes will be made.
Rob,
Yes.
go ahead.
I was gonna say that, so I've already gotten all of the legal comments from Tim related to the contract documents. The only thing that now needs to be done is populate the schedules. He rightfully took himself out of that decision because he's not an engineer and doesn't understand the scope, nor does he understand the conversations that are taking place. Typically what happens is legal counsel will do all the Ts and Cs, all the general conditions, and then somebody within the operations group, maybe Jarrett, and Randy could look at it and make sure that whatever's in there is what we've all used. And we'll spell out capacities, quantities, all of those things.
And we reviewed it with legal as well.
And Delisha, how do you and Tim explain that again, how that relationship works?
Then what way, I'm sorry.
Bond counsel, bond underwriter?
Will bond counsel provide tax exempt opinion on the bond and with every bond issue, the financing on the individual line?
He's reviewing those two.
Right, but the other one, you're going in, he's gonna go over all that and you're, okay.
As soon as we get the figures.
If we take out a bond for 1.755 mil, that does not lock us into 10 million.
Whatever dollar amount you take out.
I'm still gonna vote no, but I could be okay with, I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm gonna vote no, but the 1.755 mil takes care of the boiler and the DHW heater upgrades.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll have that on the agenda. Sheila, did you get all that for the minutes?
Can you read the
Yeah.
whole?
No, she'll just quit. She'll quit her job. She's like, I'm out.
Wow.
No. Okay, any other,
My,
or Randy, yes.
yeah, my concerns about, resolution 17, I looked through my notes on it, and most of those blanks were dollar numbers, and I can see why they're blank now. But before I vote yes on that, I'd like to have actual concrete numbers
Oh,
in
yes.
You'll
it
have
will.
this.
All these resolutions will have to have
They will.
figures in it by Friday.
there. Okay.
In between now and then, email us if you have any questions. Again, Rob, Joe, Alicia, Tim,
Only
Rick,
30
they're
more
all
items on it.
in this to work in the best interest of
Feel
us.
free to send me your color-coded
Yeah.
clip notes.
And we'll put those in.
Forward them to all of us, please.
And again, they're gonna move forward, so everybody knows they are gonna move forward. So the timeline, and I hate to use the word phase, I don't wanna think, once you get to phase two, you can't do anything with phase one. It's not building, it's just steps. Next step for the board is to get all that information, then, so we know about the elementary schools, take the deep dive, and continue to move forward and have that in February, March is when you'll be able to at least.
And think about who would be a good, like, who was a volunteer to be on that committee. For us, to make those, to educate, collaborate on those decisions.
Because there'll be a committee of a whole. We'll make sure that everybody from this point, because these are the big decisions that really are going to be starting to be made by the board. It has to be made.
I mean, operations will still handle capital projects.
Yes, yes,
But not this. This is the monster.
that's it.
And
If there's anything we can provide in the meantime, next couple of days, just reach out to anybody.
moving forward with a subset of that plan doesn't commit us to anything else at all.
And, no,
Again, that's the.
No.
yeah.
5 minutes stretch. 5 minute stretch.
I think.
We'll make a motion for a 5 minute stretch.
Yeah, let's take a break.
But before you do, though, staff members, any of you who aren't going to be in the executive session later, feel free to head home.
Stretch out still.
Sorry, Cheryl.
30 more items.
I
Aren't you
know.
glad you came home?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. I'm glad I drove.
Items, 30
I think
more
it should
items,
be.
69.
Brandon, did you make all that stuff?
I think any of this stuff.
I tried to. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that way. People don't, haven't seen.
You went.
Right.
Turned out to be more valuable.
Okay.
Good.
They look good. No, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's been a long day. Hard conversations, yeah. But, yeah, it's so funny, their daughter. Ah, like never fix that. I don't think they're watching, I mean, people's plates there. Yeah, I'm using the bush stuff, so I'm like, but I told them they're all. Oh, they didn't know you tonight. Yeah. When she about died, I was like, gonna grab her water. I me too. I'm fading fast. I'm fading fast.
All right, there you go. I'll have you right back, 1 second. Oh, I know you're a freak. Yeah. They're just
Okay, I guess like these
Good luck, this is the name.
I didn't sugar.
Okay, good enough, yeah. I'll roll up the value-added piece of Well, this is 100% state.
And then he retired, right?
I actually teach it to the courses we
Yeah, they're finally doing that. It only took them 5 years to do that. Yep, on a cruise, they're cruising.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know the last time my dad checked his email. He's mad at us because we made him get a smartphone. He wants his flip phone back.
No, when I'm on vacation, I watch me.
Oh, my mom's like, I'm not even getting, she's like, I'm not getting the Wi-Fi membership. I don't care if you get it.
I have all your stuff.
If someone dies, I'll find out when I get back. I'm like, what if it's shot?
Is it like, okay?
Yeah. She goes, if it's one of the girls, that's not a problem. It's me. Good to see you. I'm like, what if your brother dies? And she goes, that's fine. I'll get another one. I'm like, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They're out cruising and then we've got plans on top of plans on top of. I want to go somewhere more. Yeah.
It was just.
I went to Alaska. I get it. Yeah.
All right, Jim.
I like to.
Let's wrap it up.
I didn't come
I don't do it for that, though.
Like Leon said.
No. I don't like doing it at all. But. That's like money here.
Yes.
Whatever you guys decide, I'll make 100% you want to say, so that's, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's work out there.
If I have.
The boilers is just not.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Let's get everything
I'm
else
not
figured
part
out
of,
and be done.
I'm not part of the world, I can line out like boom, boom, boom,
Well,
boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When Garrett finally explained, oh, all the stuff is highlighted in green, the stuff that needs done. Well, that makes sense. That's makes sense.
I do think most of them are just points. Everybody needs their points. I just put in all.
Right.
But, I was thinking boilers are fine.
You don't have that. You're not a big fan, we know.
So they might make it, that'd be great.
He has no memory. I get that. I remember 2 years ago when he and somebody else had to drive halfway across the state to pick up stuff.
Yeah, you were here for that.
Yes, I was.
Oh, yeah.
Should I brought my sleeping bag or what? You know, you do realize, girls, when Sabrina had the birthday party for her son last month, that was the fastest I think we've done. Remember Tracy was just in and out, because I had to go to a basketball game, really fast.
Yeah, I don't get the complex ones, it's fine. I don't need them.
So Bob got our ditch today for our electric, they're bringing our electric line tomorrow. Bob did, he has a photo with the backhoe. Yeah. And it's good enough to do that. He can dig the water line, he can dig the electric line. Oh, and I just found Eric Ewing. Yeah, he's loved it. He's doing it so much better than like the other guy. The other guy was gonna like dig the whole line. And Eric, he's doing, no, we're gonna put this tank in, I have this pump thing, and like so much better. Really good. Thank you.
I did everything. I was a little cash and he did separate all night.
Yeah, we still see him.
I don't want to stab you.
You know, my daughter has, and his name is Matt. I didn't know.
You start worrying about it. See, it's right. Yeah, you are.
I love her.
I'm just looking for him to. Man, I see him walking over.
I would just like to find
No, I can
Okay, stay tuned.
That's what he said. Okay, so I'm fine with that. When I saw that, they sent it out.
I was trying to.
Perfect.
No, I was not worried about
Good, I don't care. I don't care about our youth. Don't put that on that. You're gonna smack. You don't do that, sir. Yeah, that's what scared me the most. That's,
Hey.
It was like 24 hours. You want to stab me?
No, I can get behind justice. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I can get behind justice. What we have seen is. And so we agreement, and so there's no amendment for the with that money. We weren't here.
I wish you're just like, yay! I told them, I said, I'll go whenever you want. You guys have to do.
See what I'm saying? And that's.
Did you guys have so much fun?
So much fun.
I looked through her pictures and they're so
So
cute.
when he's,
I've never been to Vegas. Have you been?
I was a very little girl, but yes. And that's all you need is a weekend.
Yeah,
Anything more than that, I think, is just an
too
overkill.
much, yeah.
I came home feeling like a wrung out sponge. Like I've never been so dry. Like I've moisturized my face 3 times today. Because it's still.
Did you go to the Sphere?
We saw it, yes. We didn't go into the very expensive.
oh no, that's in that price. I'm okay with that.
So we did the Fuji on a budget Vegas tour.
Yes, that's the way me and my friends gonna do, for 40th, just go to Nashville. We've never gone there instead of doing a party or whatever.
Yeah,
But like just a little weekend.
Well, I don't
Aaron's
want that
50th.
stuff.
Oh.
That's what he said.
And I don't know, none of us have a milestone birthday for a couple more years.
And then I just think it was illegal said.
But we're still
wait,
doing
we
our
have to
house.
see this contract, we're just figuring it out. You know, and now he said they're
You
gonna
guys
go back.
should try
to it, they're
Nashville.
gonna see
But
it
yours,
all.
I feel like yours like
Well-
as big as.
That was discussed, and I think that it's like at the top of the list.
Oh, yes.
Did you read the report?
I didn't read it.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh, that one.
I said, when you take the news into it, I responded immediately. And she goes, but mom, and I was like, I don't care. It's like, it's not a trouble thing, but it's called common courtesy, trying to raise a responsible young person.
I know.
When an adult and a 30 figure addresses you, you respond, you don't stare at them like it's your proud mother.
That will
Oh, yeah, to your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just call it. You know what that is?
Huh?
Apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, discuss.
Oh,
We better get back to that.
I think I think you're just gonna leave the board meeting and go check the roads out. Not see it all. They're gonna leave it.
Yeah.
You guys are that
Yeah.
Oh,
my daughter.
No, I have them.
I do school, you know how I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Well, this is you. My daughter's
I know, you've lost a 4th grader at this point.
Yes, stop, yeah. But she brought what's called the Hogan.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
From Columbiana County. It's the bakery.
Based on the fact
Hogan.
because she
Well, I
told
haven't
me
been
on Thursday.
I didn't
Last
call
year you did, what was the total amount?
Then-
And it was
Now,
$15
mind you,
million.
the roads weren't that bad.
We don't know the size of that school, we don't know how many, children, you know, that have housing, we know nothing about it.
Are you serious? I said,
Twice
what do you want me to
the
do?
children have.
So, yeah, I'm gonna.
So I'm not.
What is it?
I'm not saying that, but I think.
Oh, yeah, all of this, we drive around, I do think people slip around in our city too. Because we're kind of like on
So
that
I'm not saying I would never vote
We
for us to borrow money, I'm not saying I would.
4 to 5, Leon Drive
saying-
section, I do the Hickman section, Congress Hill, he's a neighbor of mine. But we talk about other people.
So if we find it, it's a well, trash.
And typically they'll go together, but not always, sometimes it's so rare.
I have to.
You have that.
I have to.
Oh.
I know.
I know. But then when you got kids, they come back. I go, "Oh, what's that?"
We're gonna call the meeting back to order, please.
That hurt my ear.
All right. Ms. Eaton, item 7.
Okay, I put my report in front of you. I'm gonna speak really fast, but you have it to read. So, okay. I think everybody knows that Caldwell still hasn't adopted their budget. the second item, financial conditions for 25-26. So I went ahead and looked at the current budget. We did project a $2.5 million deficit, but we're, as of right now, without having a Commonwealth budget, I'm still predicting a deficit of $750,000. I think after I get the revenue figures from the Commonwealth, I'll come back to you and we'll talk more about that. But as of right now, with the healthcare increase and the cyber school increase and those type of increases for the year that we're in, I still am predicting a deficit.
So that's what the flat funding, Mrs. Eaton?
Flat funding.
Okay.
So we don't know yet.
Yeah,
Till the
we don't.
Commonwealth passes their budget and gives us the figures that they have planned for us. For the 26-27 budget, we talked about this briefly. I put a timeline out there in the drive. I mentioned January 29th is the deadline to decide whether or not you want to go above the index. A little bit about the index. Mr. Loman was talking about this, 26-27 index is 5%. So you take that time the millage rate, and then we could increase a 0.9 of a mill. 1 mill is 605,000 to us, so that would get us 550,000. I gave you the historical indexes, so they're reasonable. So I think the next couple of years will be in the fives. So I think that'd be okay. The forecasting districts budgets. I know I say this a lot, but as you can see, the cyber school enrollment, that's where the money's going. We're paying over $2 million. So a lot of people will be like, well, over the years, why have the budgets grown and so forth? That's probably one of the number one reasons. And electricity, by the way, it's high. But about the cooperative purchasing agreements, that is items 11 and 20 on the agenda. We join a lot of those on the agenda. Keystone purchasing is motion number 11, and then Allegheny Intermediate Unit is motion 20. Those are statewide consortiums, and they bring together and they get you better pricing. So Keystone is supplies, and the Allegheny Intermediate Unit is for gasoline or fuel. So they go out and they talk to all the agencies, and you lock in a price with them. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Are these the cooperative agreements we're using now?
We're in them right now, yes, we are.
Is there a reason we have IU3?
Because they have a fuel consortium.
The best prices, we priced it.
And we locked in a price and it turned out to be really good. So,
Okay.
yes. But you have to agree to so many gallons. So there is a risk level.
There's a formula behind it.
So I see on here that at least it looks like budgeted for cyber, outside cyber was 120 students for this year. And it looks like, I see there's currently 95 enrolled, so that looks promising.
But you pay for it anyway.
Well, a lot of it happens after like the next 6 weeks, and the next 6 weeks truancy happens and they go to cyber.
And our new vendor is actually very aggressive, calling the families and trying to recruit them back as well. And we're hoping that cyber school funding.
So at least, let's say a student were to go half a year here in our school, and then they went half a year to the cyber school. Do we pay for a full year for that student, or is it only the half a year?
No, it's by month. So
Oh, it's, we don't pay for seats?
no,
Okay.
not the
We used
cyber.
We used to have to pay for seats.
You have to pay for seats.
No, not now. It's a 30,000, and then it'd be like 6/12 of or 1/2 of the 30,000
$30,000 a month.
a year. 30,000 a year for a special ed child at cyber.
So the numbers real quick is $17,513 on average for the 120 students.
Yeah, well, there's right now of the 95, I think 30 are regular and the rest are special. So special ed. So it's pretty high. But we did get relief. Remember, the governor did give us relief last year. He lowered the special ed rate. So we did get some relief. Not a lot, but we got some relief. I think it's down to like 28,000. So we got a little bit of relief. But like Dr. Thomas was saying, our in-house program, I think we had 33 students. I think we're now at 39. So, I mean, kudos to Dr. Bianconi in getting that new program.
And even if the governor's office, they did pass the budget at $6,000 flat rate or $8,000 flat rate, that's still 150% more than what we currently pay now with our own program and doing an excellent job.
Any other questions?
All right, board members, in the essence of, are you done? I'm sorry.
No, I'm done now.
I was just moving right along.
I'm
Board
done.
members, in the essence of time is, can we skip item 8? Or is there anything that needs to be said from any of you? I will stab you. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm
I had one ready too. Got a couple notes.
Yeah, can we start that one over? Didn't we just do operation?
Yeah.
Let it go.
Go ahead, Andy.
We had a meeting, you heard everything we discussed.
Thanks.
Literally.
Why did I come to the other one?
Yeah, we covered it all.
In our 7-minute VOTEC meeting, we covered it all as well.
Wow, that was the most, whatever. Okay, discussion items. I'm just going to read down through these. Stop me if you need to for anything. All right, item 9 is recommend the board approve the agreement between the district and Venango County Human Services, Family Service and Children Aid Society for the SAP program. Item 10, that the board grant permission to create a cooperative agreement amongst participating Venango County school districts for girls wrestling. Item 11 is recommend the board grant permission to participate in the Keystone Purchasing Network. Item 12, an MOU between the district and the FAEA for the position of girls wrestling coach. Item 13 is recommended to approve Ms. Eaton to attend the FASD conference. Item 14, approval of bond issuance to finance capital projects. Can I keep going? Item 15 is a resolution to approval of GISA construction contract with the Efficiency Network for an ESCO. Item 16 is a resolution approval of reimbursement resolution for general obligation bond series of 2025. Item 17 is recommended to approve the service agreement between the district and Standard & Poor Global to obtain a credit rating. Item 18 is recommended to approve the service agreement between the district and Digital Assurance Certification LLC to assist the district in submitting debt-related documents with Securities and Exchange Commission. Item 19, it is recommended to approve the 24-25 school year budget transfers from the audit as presented by the business manager. Item 20, it is recommended to approve resolution 20-25 for the district to participate in and appoint representatives to the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Joint Purchasing Program. That's where we will be purchasing our gasoline and diesel fuel. Item 21 is recommended to approve the 26-27 Act 1 budget timeline as presented by Ms. Eaton. Item 22, it is recommended the board approve the employment of Tanya Hamilton for an instructional aide at Central. Item 23, it is recommended that the board approve the employment of Dustin McKenzie for the position of instructional aide. Dustin McKenzie's worked for, wow, Don Morell? I just went back to, okay. Dustin.
24.
Item 24 is recommended that the board approve the employment of Deanna Wolfgong for the position of instructional aide at Central. Item 25, recommend that the board approve the employment of Ainsley Kissel for a position of art teacher. Item 26 is recommend the board approve Kristen McDonald for the position of cafe server and dishwasher. 27, that recommend the board approve the resignation of Amy Atkinson, custodian at Central. 28, a resignation of Carly Seven from guidance counselor at Sandy Creek. Item 29, to approve the attached list of teachers and guest teachers. Item 30, to approve the following supplemental contract resignations for 25-26. Item 31, to approve the following supplemental contracts for 25-26. Item 32, to approve the volunteer as listed. Item 33, informational, Pam Clark transferred into the cook at the junior senior high school position effective November 3rd. All right, anything else for the good of the order?
You were going through it at a brisk pace, but.
Yeah, I was, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Item number 10, the cooperative agreement for girls wrestling. Have we done anything to assess the level of interest from the high school girls? 'Cause I know there were at least 2, but was any formal school-wide?
Yes, we did. And tomorrow there's going to be another winter sports meeting. And Becky is going to be back in town. She had sent out a survey called students. And Mr. Miller, I think you can talk on this. Was it 6 or 7 we had? I think I sent it to the board initially interested.
There were 6 that were interested, 2 that officially signed up. We'll get some more.
So 6 or 7.
Stop.
I love it.
Stop.
I hope it lasts forever.
6, 7.
You're so mature. I am.
All right, and then, item 12,
Wait a second. And there are questions about maybe wrestling. Is there any other questions about that?
Yes.
Yeah, Casey, Mr. Miller, do you mind even stepping up, standing up to? And Mrs. Romanowski, our assistant. Go ahead.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Now, is this gonna infringe on the boys wrestling? Is there a place for them to practice? Do we need to purchase equipment?
Nope, I
How's
feel
that
like,
looking?
possibly the uniform singlets are cut a little different for. the
I would
girls,
hope so.
they- You know, that might be a purchase that would be, necessary, but, practice times, I know there aren't a lot of schools that have an official girls wrestling program, but it's one of the fastest growing youth sports in America. And there are Division I schools, I mean, Gannon has a program now, girls are getting, scholarships to go do this and stuff, so I think it's an awesome opportunity. Whoever ends up doing it, I know there's coaches from other districts that are talking about co-oping, that are offering to help with coach, volunteer, that kind of thing. So they can practice with the boys. I know in some schools they do that. Right now they are wrestling with the boys team, so they're already practicing with
So
them.
it doesn't conflict.
Whatever they decide to do, they can arrange different times, use the same mats, they can practice with them after, before.
I do have a question. So we say between the 3 schools that we'd like to co-op with, we only have 3 girls that are interested. Do we even have a team then?
So there's 13 spots, and there are different weight classes, obviously.
Obviously, yes. I know how wrestling works, yeah.
Yep, so it's, from what I know right now, there are 7 girls from Oil City.
Like, are we gonna invest $6,000 in
6
3
years.
kids? Not to be rude, but we were just bickering over boilers.
No, we're looking at a couple thousand each, and Mrs. Barnes said she'd go to the red and black if needed. We're still waiting to finalize Cranberry and Oil City, the other 2 districts that are considering it, and they'll finalize it with us. We've offered it to all the Venango County districts.
Now, did that have to be sent in October, or, because I thought I saw online where the
Yeah.
PIAA said it has to be submitted by October. We've passed that date.
Yeah, we have to petition the PIAA and send a letter to ask them to do a co-op, and if they give us permission, we can do it. So leading up to them approving us, because there's a process to go through, the practices will be voluntary, and there'll be no real organizational team, but that's what Becky has told me.
and then, my second question, item 12, the MOU, has the position of girls wrestling coach retroactive to, I don't have the date on it, hold on a second, my notes, November 3rd. We don't even have a program yet, and we've had
Right.
a coach since November 3rd?
No, we don't. An MOU is allow us to hire a coach. We didn't post it, but if the Franklin Area Educational Association, FAA, the union for the teachers vote yes, they're going to give us their final decision that goes in front of the board as written. It's been reviewed and it's pretty straightforward. It's for a 2-year process, and we would still control that. Could come up in negotiations, but does not have to come up in negotiations.
Okay, so we haven't hired anybody?
No, we have not.
Okay,
We'd have to advertise it as the collective bargaining agreement states.
okay. Those are my questions, thank you.
I apologize for going through that so fast.
No, that's fine.
No, you're good.
Great question.
Yes, please do.
Continue have a question as well?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a question. I would just like to congratulate the Victory Girls basketball team on an undefeated 6-0 season. And congratulations to those girls and Coach Winger and Coach Hannah.
And their parents
Yes.
for all of their hard work. That's ridiculous.
I just have one thing to say.
Yes.
Even though it was 4.5 hours long, that discussion, that was probably one of the healthiest discussions this board has had.
Very rich.
So thank you for doing that,
I
everyone.
didn't
All
say
right.
one word.
That's why it was healthy.
I just sat here. I was like,
Yeah.
And we appreciate that.
yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, with that, A motion is request to adjourn to executive session for matters of negotiations and matters to be kept confidential. Is there such a
Quickly.
motion? I'll take the motion from Ms. Ferry. Is there a second? Take the second from Mr. Stackelrod. Any questions or discussion? No, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And so ordered. Let the record show that executive session at 9:28 PM.
If I could have the principals and
Sheila, go home. We'll take care of
Mrs.
it.
Romanowski and Mr.
Take, go
Delmo,
home. We'll take care of everything.
that'd be great.
Seriously,
Yep.
these meetings keep up this late.